out on the brakes. Koenigsegg, yep, he's got the advantage, but unironically the average ducks to the inside. What a move! But Koenigsegg accelerating back on the outside. And there goes Salty Bonkos to the inside. Bashing door panels, sparks flying, smoke spraying. The Butler is going to go wide. Salty Bonkos on the inside. They're a little bit off the pace, but now accelerating all 500 horsepower. Hello, race fans, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Virtual Auto Sports here live on Twitch TV and the Forza Spec Racing Series season number 33 about to get underway here in about 12 minutes. I'm Dustin Moore. Glad to be bringing the broadcast action to you live here on Twitch. And, of course, those who may be watching us on demand, thank you very much for doing that. Boy, oh boy, has a lot changed since we last had a Tuesday broadcast back on March 3rd, and I don't think I have to tell you about all the crazy world events that have taken place since then, but then also thrown into the mix all the virtual racing that has happened since the COVID virus has come ashore here in the United States and elsewhere throughout the globe. It's really been crazy, and in a good way. The one beacon of hope that there is out there for the virtual world in gaming is that, well, people are told to stay inside, and with that comes a lot of opportunities for us to get behind the sticks, the controllers, the wheels, what have you, and it has blown up across the esports world. The racing genre has. And so what little bit of entertainment we can provide to you here this evening, hopefully it brings a smile to your face. Hopefully you get enthralled and excited with the action that you see out here on the digital raceway. And if at any point you have any comments, questions, concerns, gripes, complaints, whatever it might be, throw it over there into our Twitch chat or the pit lane, as we call it here on Virtual Auto Sports, and I'll be happy to interact with you throughout the evening. Exciting thing to mention right now, although you all are seeing the Pontiac Solstice that'll be raced here in season number 33, we have a full lobby tonight. Yes, 23 drivers hitting the track, first starting out there at the Yas Marina South Circuit for 26 laps. Follow that up with the Le Mans Bugatti Circuit, 16 laps around that track. A good bout of racing here tonight on two real world tracks. We do have a few fantasy tracks that are going to be thrown into the mix here in season 33, and we'll take a look at that schedule. Heck, why go on about it when we could just go ahead and show it up on the screen here? There's March 31st. That's today, the final day of March 2020. Good riddance, March. We'll be glad to see you go away. Yas Marina, like I mentioned, followed by Le Mans Bugatti Circuit. Then we have there in week number 2, a week from today, Road America Full, Top Gear West, which will be an interesting track, 50 laps around that circuit. No pit stops in that one. Week number 3, 2 weeks from tonight, Road Atlanta Full, then the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Yes, we are heading out to the Nordschleife, the green hell, for 4 laps in race number 6, week 3. Week 4, Silverstone International, Virginia Raceway Full, and then in week number 5, that extended semi-endurance event is heading out to the fantasy track of Prague Short for 69 laps around that track. Turning over to our pit lane, the Twitch chat. We've got Ference13 that says, just tuned in time. Glad to have you here. DWM Frog is in the house. Division Hunter says, oof, haven't been here in a long time, and goes ahead and uses 100 of those pit points for that highlighted message. Matt6661 here with the hello to Meza, Dino, and Herbie, but then also with the host. Thank you very much there, Matt. Appreciate that. Also in here, we've got Meza, Herbie, Dino Dad Shadow, or Dino Dado as he's now known, Slow Motion Fire here with you this evening. And like I said, at any point, jump into the mix. Even if you're going to sit back and relax for the majority of tonight's broadcast, that's okay. If you just want to say hi, that's perfectly fine. And I like it because in that way, I know that, hey, I'm not talking to bots that are on the other end of this big worldwide internet cable that we know as Twitch. Turning over to some thanks that I must give that have accumulated over the last week or 2 weeks. Let's see, we've got Luis Portilla, probably saying that wrong, with the follow. The Anarchy with the subscription for 14 months now, dropping that subscription. DJ Doug with the follow. Same goes for Scrimia. Christina Racing. Sober David had us with a host the other day. Mark Inc. 80 with a follow. Major Sin, or Mr. Major Sin, or I'm getting that all wrong. It's Mr. Mojo Risen. That's what it is. Dak is back with the follow. I am Satan Jr. with the follow. Climpy, or Climpi. True Iceman 21 with the follow. Fearance with that follow here this evening. And then we turn our attention away from the schedule that we have here for Season 31. And let's go ahead and take a look back at Season number 32 when we were in that Skyline Nissan GTR R32. LMP Chicago coming away with the championship by just one single point. 1 point over AMS Udakan. Then it was DOR Corvette there in third position. Cratream, Audrex, Slipstream, Yorkie Man, Fear the Fun are your top 8. You see the rest all the way through the top 24. There was one additional driver in season number 32. Unfortunately, if you're not top 24, you don't make it to the roster, but that's okay. If you're interested in participating in the Forza Spec Racing Series, which I most certainly encourage you to do, head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4, and you have all the details, everything you need to know. And here's a beautiful little tidbit for you. Even if you're not racing here tonight and you're able to get into the lobby next week, a week from tonight, same time, same channel, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, well, you can be in the running for the championship here in Season 33 in that Pontiac Solstice GXP. 2009 Pontiac Solstice GXP, might I say, because, the GXP, not the GXP, but the Pontiac Solstice, the Pontiac brand, hasn't existed since 2010. Well, we're going to resurrect it here in Season 32, give the Solstice its due justice out here on the track. Yes, it had some performances in the Sport Car Club of America for several seasons throughout its production build from 2005 to 2009, just before Pontiac went defunct there in 2010. It's got the 2.0 Ecotec Turbo Inline 4 motor in it, and they have not swapped that out here for Season 33. That motor has stayed under the hood, and as a matter of fact, they've only added 5 horsepower to this car here for Season 33 by way of a actually it was a street exhaust there from the cat back. And then, well, when you think of the Pontiac Solstice, you might also think of its two siblings, the Saturn Sky, which came in a variant that I think was very much similar, if not the same as this GXP. It was known as the Red Line. And then there was the Opel GT version, which in Forza Motorsport 2 or 3, I'm trying to remember which iteration it was. I think we actually had the Opel GT before we had the Solstice. So you can go back in time, play one of those former Forza titles, and get behind the wheel of the Opel. All right, let's go ahead and turn on over to our driver spotlight, what we do or like to do every single time we're live here with the Forza Spec Racing Series, and chat with some of our drivers. And in the broadcast booth, we have Fear the Fun. Fear the Fun, how are you, sir? Welcome to Season 33.
I am great. How are you, my dude?
I'm doing pretty good. I cannot complain, all things considered, with where we are in the world, the craziness of COVID-19. I feel well, and here I am behind the screen, behind a mic, looking at a screen, getting ready for some exciting racing. I've heard from some of the drivers saying that because this is a slower car, here it is on the low end of the Forza Performance Spectrum, C500, it allows for that nice, close, competitive racing without the fear of massive collisions. So what are you thinking about the Solstice at this point?
I like it. It handles really well. It's obviously not slow. And if you ask anybody, the transmission's horrible. But I like it. It's going to be a fun car.
You got a sports transmission in there, so you're able to adjust the final drive. Is there much you can do to help out the car as it relates to the transmission with those fine-tuned adjustments, or is it just going to be garbage all the way through the season?
You got to shorten up the gears a lot. It helps mitigate the third gear.
Okay, make some adjustments. Okay. Anything else to the car that you got to change up?
Not it understeers a little bit from stock tune, but it's really easy to get it underneath you and get it to handle all right. I've done very minimal tuning to what I did in the R31 to make the R31 fast, and I feel like this is a pretty solid tune.
And coming out of season 32, you were just a few points, well, not a few points, it was a good handful of points back behind Yorkie Man in 7th. You were in 8th, so you were on that far left column of our standings at 207 points. Where do you aspire to be here in season 33?
Up until like 2 days ago, I was like hoping for a top 5 in the season. And then I just kind of watched all the bigger names come floating in, and my expectations went down from like a top 5 to like a top. I know where I stand.
Okay. Well, let's take one race at a time here, starting with Yas Marina South, followed by Le Mans. What does week 1 look like to you?
Actually, week 1, the Bugatti circuit is my track, and I hate Yas Marina.
You hate Yas, but when you say it was your track, and I want to clarify for our viewers, I'm guessing that's the one that you picked for season 33 here. That's the track you selected.
Yep.
All right.
And everybody, well, not everybody, Slow wanted to do nighttime, but being legally blind or visually impaired, I was like, can we not? And it was up until like last week. He was like, all right, we'll do it in the daytime. Fear, because he has to have his way.
Last minute adjustment to make it work there for Fear the Fun. Well, hey, Fear, I appreciate it. I know qualifying is getting underway here any moment now, so best of luck to you. We'll see how you do tonight.
All right, have a good night.
All right, you too. And like I had mentioned, we had a full grid. Unfortunately, it looks like we've lost maybe one driver here at this point. Maybe they'll jump in last minute before the qualifying gets underway, or perhaps they'll come in after qualifying, which is also permitted. It just means that you'll be at the very back of the pack. Hoot Wheels coming in with a raid, a party of 11. Thank you very much, Hoot Wheels. Appreciate you bringing that crowd on over, and welcome, folks, to Virtual Auto Sports here on Twitch TV. I'm Dustin Moore, and we're getting ready for qualifying out at Yas Marina Short Circuit. What qualifying entails here for the Forza Spec Racing Series is 3 laps around the track. All the cars are ghosted, so you don't make any contact with the vehicles. Try to set your best lap. Now, of course, out here at Yas Marina, it's one of those tracks that's infamous for quarter cutting. But in qualifying, you got to keep at least 2 wheels on or within track limits. Otherwise, the Forza system's going to say, hey, that lap was dirty, and the fastest dirty lap will always be slower than the slowest clean lap when it comes to qualifying. So you got to keep that in mind. Be wary of that when you're out there qualifying. They do loosen up the track limits a little bit when you get out there for the race itself. Of course, when you become a part of the Forza Spec Racing Series, they'll have all those details handled for you. And again, their site is reddit.com/r/FM4. Head on over there, get yourself signed up if you aren't already, and perhaps maybe this is just kind of going to be a watch and learn and see type of experience for you here in Season 33. That's quite all right. I know they'll be happy to have you there in Season number 34. And the beauty of it, too, is when you sign up, your first season as a competitor in this league, they go ahead and give you an amateur board, which just kind of lets all the other drivers out on the track know that, hey, we've got a newcomer to our group. It doesn't mean that you're new to Forza Motorsport by any stretch of the imagination. It just means that you are new to the league. That's it. That's all it means. Chaos Fox now with the host. Thank you very much. Chaos Fox, and anybody who may be watching from that channel, great to have you here. Looking at the lobby, let's run through it real quick. We've got SGR Corvid. So Corvid switching over to another team. IPR Wolf, DTR Maverick, Hoot Wheels on the track, Cratrium, Fear the Fun, Carbon TI, Grim, LMP Phantom, AMS Uticon, LSEM Chaos Fox, Joe Beardy, CMD Slipstream, Mega Chin, 6432, a new name here to the series, Matsky, 203, 4209, another new name here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, AX4X Big Ben, who we saw race in Season 32's finale, is out here on the track for the beginning of Season 33. Then it's Dior Hocus, Lil Bambier, Modern Weapon, Slow Motion Fire, Audrex, and Darksir are your 23 drivers out on a track. A full lobby for you here tonight. Slow Motion Fire giving us the signal there in the pit lane, the Twitch chat, that we are about to go underway. And sure enough, here we go. Quick, right at it, on time. It's the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 33 in the 2009 Pontiac Solstice GXP. That car selected by LMP Chicago, who won the Season 32 championship there in the Nissan GTR R32 in Season 32. And here's Hoot Wheels. Out underway. Getting around the track. Going to be the first one here for qualifying. It was Season 32 in an R31. I got the R backwards, but now I got it figured out. And here you go. We are on that South Circuit, so it is a much shorter track as opposed to the full Yas Marina circuit that you might be familiar with Formula One racing, Formula E racing. Here comes AX4X Big Ben, getting two wheels up into the air, getting ready to go underneath the beautiful architecture out here. I mean, this is just a gorgeous track, and I can only imagine what that thing looks like in the real world. And then, at nighttime, although Fear the Fun, as we just heard there in the driver's spotlight, telling us, no, let's not do nighttime because of my vision. But when it goes dark out here at this track, it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Even with the lamps beaming down on the circuit itself, the way that the track lights up, the way that the architecture is glowing, it's fantastic. We'll go ahead and throw the statistics there in the bottom left-hand corner. Right now, it's Carbon with a 1:13.6. That is a standing start time. So now that they're going through their first flying lap number 2, we'll see what that does to everybody's times at this point. Ether and Hunt saying, I don't remember the name of that show. It was like mid-2000s reality show racing series on Speed Channel using GXPs. Am I crazy? I think I know what you're talking about. And it doesn't quite come to mind. I know. Now, see, Forza Motorsport, and a lot of folks don't necessarily know this, is that Forza Motorsport, back in the Forza 2 days, actually hosted a gamer to real-world racer competition. This was before GT Academy, and it was hosted, I think, on the Speed Channel. And so that might be what you're talking about there, Ether and Hunt. That could be it. Kagamusha saying hello. MXC Original is here. Salty Bonkos is here. And right now it's Corvid who's jumped up to the top spot with a 1:12.493. Let's go over to LMP. Let's see, who do we want to find here? I was going to say LMP Phantom, but let's go back to Darksir here. Currently 9th overall in terms of qualifying time, and actually has dropped back now to 12th with the Martini livery there on the Pontiac Solstice GXP. Dino Dado saying, where's my boy Carbon? He did have the fastest qualifying time, or the fastest qualifying time out of the standing start lap, but now has dropped back to 10th position qualifying time. We've got a little alien up there just above the Pontiac emblem, and you see that orange board, that orange number board signifying that this driver and all of the others like him or her are new to the series. Again, it doesn't mean that they are new to Forza by any stretch of the imagination, only that they are new to the series. And then once you have completed your first season, then your next season will be what they call the pro level, and you get the green number board. And there goes Carbon across the line. AMS Utica now with a 1:10.279, so almost a whole 2 seconds faster than Corvid. And so it'll currently, tentatively, be Utica on the pole position with Audrex opposite of him. In row number 2, Maverick and Corvid, followed by Cratrim and Slipstream, Big Ben, Slow Motion Fire, then Hocus and IPR Wolf. Back in 11th in terms of qualifying time, LMP Phantom and Joe Beardy, Carbon, Chaos Fox, Darkser, Megachin, Grim, Modern Weapon, Lil Bambier, Hoot Wheels, Fear the Fun, Born as Ghost, and Matski. There you go, folks. So we'll take a look at those qualifying times here in the post-race results. Make sure everything that I just read off looks correct, albeit we won't see it in order form of what the grid will look like. We'll try to take a look at the grid before the race gets kicked off. And for any of our drivers who just wrapped up qualifying session, you'd like to talk about how things went for the first 3 laps here in Season 33, hop into that queue for interview section. Would love to bring you into the broadcast booth and let you talk about it. Oh my, who else do we have here? A great crowd this evening. I hope you all are having a great one, and I hope you are happy and healthy, and that extends not only just to you, but your family and friends. Social distancing really puts us into a weird position, right? We're social creatures by trade. Even those of us who are introverts, from time to time, need some sort of interaction, and if it's not there within the family household and you're just by yourself at your apartment, at your home, wherever you might be, it can be a little bit, I suppose, depressing. And so hopefully you do find some fun and entertainment out of what we have to provide to you here for the next 2 hours or so. And, of course, if you feel like striking up a conversation, we got a lot of folks. A very talkative chat now at this point. It was much quieter during our countdown just before the race got kicked off, but you guys got it going now. Absolutely. And we've got our alerts going, too. We have alerts. I used to have alerts, then the alerts went away. But if you follow, we've got a nice little salutation to you there at the bottom of the broadcast here tonight. All right, let's see. Graham with a 117.278, and there we go. Sir Mighty with the subscription, Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to preface that. Well, I'm not prefacing, I guess. Now I'm after the fact. But after I said, hey, we've got alerts there for you, the follows are fantastic. That's really all I'm talking about. You go the extra mile for the subscriptions. Well, that's great. I really do encourage you, though, if you have somebody else in the Twitchverse that you would love to use your Twitch Prime or your hard-earned money on, then I recommend that you do. I broadcast very sporadically. I'm not a predictable streamer. The only predictability that you have is that for the next 5 weeks here for the Forza Spec Racing Series, you can count on me being live Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. But thank you, Sir Mighty. Much appreciated. Graham with that 117.278 or 117.278. Then IPR Wolf with a 111.911. LMP Phantom with a 111.978. Hoot Wheels coming in at a 110.5. Uticon at that 110.6. So Uticon not with the pole position. Audrex is showing all aughts across the board. I don't think that to be correct. Perhaps they were getting some last-minute qualifying. Let me go ahead and drop out, as a matter of fact, and see if dropping in will help fix that. Did it? I think it did. So Hoot Wheels actually has a dirtied 110.8. So Hoot Wheels will be a little bit further back in the pack. Then it's AX4X Big Ben with a 112.1. So we were looking at results even prior to this qualifying session. LMP Phantom with a 113.088. DOR Hocus with a 112.484. Carbon with a flying 110.642. Slow Motion Fire with a 112. DTR Maverick 110. Then you see AMS Uticon. There's that 110.279. I figured Uticon was going to be a little bit lower in terms of time than what we saw on the previous screen. Then it's Cratrim with a 110.548. Matsky with a dirty lap, so he or she too will be at the back of the pack. Fear the Fun with a 111.701. Darkser 111.334. IPR Wolf also with a 111. Corvid at a 110.2. Is that going to put Corvid on the pole position? That might. Mega Chin with a 113. A 112.401 for Born as Ghost. Slipstream with a 111. 113 for Joe Beardy. 111s, 110s, 117 for Chaos Fox, Audrex, Grim, respectively. Then Lil Bambier at 118. And Modern Weapon at 117.476. So there you go. There's your order. Or at least those are the times. Now, if as Slow Motion Fire is making the magic happen behind the scenes, this order here should start to resemble where they are on the grid. Granted, there will be 2 rows. And the way things work here in the Forza Spec Racing Series is even with the Forza Motorsport countdown to the race, you stay on the line. And once the pole position driver has indicated that they are ready for the race to begin, and by doing that, they are effectively pulling off the line, as soon as you see them move, you are able to move as well. Let me go ahead and throw that up on the screen real quick, folks. I lost a piece of interface that I need, and so I don't need you guys seeing all the sausage making here behind the scenes. So let me go ahead and make that happen. There we go. And back to the lobby we are. Top 5, here we come, says Hoot Wheels. Gonna go for it. Funkhouse resubscribing with a Tier 1 subscription for 2 months. Thank you very much, Funkhouse. You guys are way too kind here tonight. Greatly appreciated. And welcome to the pit pass, I guess. You get the emotes. And if there are any ads at play, which we will have a few here in between races, then you can evade those with your quick Twitch subscription reflexes. Taking a look over at the driver queue for interview. Nobody's sitting over there, so it looks like everybody's just ready to go racing. I can understand that. I can respect that. Perhaps we'll bring some folks in here after the race has concluded out here at Yas Marina Short. And again, it is a 26 lapper out here at the 1.47 mile Yas Marina circuit. That 27th lap will be a cool-down lap, so pay no mind to that. We're going toward 26. 26 is the goal. Oh, man. Ether End says, okay, not crazy. Speed Channel's setup in 2007, 2008 had to dig it up in the Solstice forums. Okay. Yeah, and the Solstice, again, used in the Sport Car Club of America. There was several different racing series. I think there was a showroom series, so basically you bring the car right off the showroom floor and race it that way. And then I think they had an even more tuned-up version, or at least a series that the Solstice GXP, when modified, was fit for. And so you could probably dig up some of those archives of videos. It wasn't that long ago, a decade ago, when all that racing was going on. And unfortunately, the Solstice, unfortunately Pontiac, one of the famed brands of America, General Motors had to put it to sleep and pursued things through General Motors, through Chevy, and some of the other brands. This all, of course, a result of the government bailout that it received there coming out of the Great Depression in the late 2008-2009 years. In this house, we stand the Pontiac Solstice, says Spooks. Spook Scoops. He's a Pontiac Solstice fan. And as a matter of fact, so not prior to this broadcast, not prior to this season, even before I knew that season 33 was going to happen with the Pontiac Solstice, I looked up and sure enough found that there are some avid collectors of the Solstice, because it is one of the last models makes of a vehicle that was produced by Pontiac before they went defunct. It was one of the living models in its car lineup, along with the G6 and or whatever it was called, and some of the other less excitable entries into their lineup. Because I think the GTO had even concluded before Pontiac went out of business. I think the GTO was already kind of put to bed after a few years in its life lifespan, its reincarnation there. All right, we're just waiting, and there we go. There's the countdown at the top of the screen, so we are now getting ready to go racing. Again, it is 26 laps around the track. Corvid is going to be on the pole spot. Opposite of him will be AMS Udakan, followed by, in row number 2, Cratrim and Audrex. Carbon, Maverick, Darkser, Slipstream are going to be your top 8 in the first 4 rows, followed by IPR Wolf, Fear the Fun, Chaos Fox, Big Ben, Born as Ghost, DOR Hocus, Slow Motion Fire, and Phantom. And let's go ahead and set our sights on AMS Udakan here. And again, when SGR Corvid leaves position, even moves an iota, the slightest amount, then that's when everybody else can depart. So you know that Corvid's going to be watching closely, and those on row number 2. When you're a little bit further back in the pack, it makes it that much more difficult, obviously, to see what the pole driver's doing, so you just rely on everybody else. We'll see if we have any false starts here right off the top. Solar Gambler saying, woo! MXC Original saying, go hoot! And here we go. Kick the tires, light the fires, ladies and gentlemen. It is week number 1 of season 33 in the Forza Spec Racing Series, the 2009 Pontiac Solstice. And our pole sitter, AMS Udakan, actually it's going to be Corvid who was the pole sitter, is going to lead them through the S's here. Early going part of the track. Following Corvid is going to be Udakan, Cratrim, Audrex, Carbon, Darkser, Slipstream, Maverick, Fear the Fun, and IPR Wolf in your top 10. LMP Chicago saying this is going to be a drop week for him, but a good season overall. So good to know that we may see LMP Chicago a little bit later on after week number 1. Here comes AMS Udakan on the inside of Corvid. He's going to line up here for the left-hander on the outside. Not going to have a good shot at it, although he does get about half a car length and now goes ahead and takes position. AMS Udakan here in lap number 1, about halfway through it. Your new race leader. Back behind him is Corvid, Cratrim haunting, lurking in 3rd position. Audrex, and there goes Carbon to the inside of Audrex, trying to make a move on him. Let's go back there to Audrex, and actually let's go to Carbon in 5th position as they go back toward the start-finish line for the end of lap number 1, start of lap 2 here at Yas Marina South. 265 horsepower, 265 foot-pounds of torque, 2,882 pounds of curb weight. That's 2,000. That's 237 less than the vehicle comes with stock. C500 is the performance index here in Forza Motorsport 7, which is basically an indication of how well these vehicles perform in the grand scheme of automobiles here in the virtual world of Forza Motorsport. C500 on the lower end of that spectrum. Carbon's going to go ahead and give Audrex a hard time there on the back right rear quarter panel, giving them a little bit of a bump there. Audrex in some colors that we're not accustomed to seeing him in. He's usually in AMD Risen garb. Going for something a little bit different. Carbon now up to 5th, with Darkser back there in that Martini livery in 6th. Let's go to SGR Corvid. They're in 2nd position, still with Udakan out in front after Udakan was able to take the lead halfway through lap number 1, and behind him is still Cratrim in 3rd. Beyond 10th is Chaos Fox in 11th, Born as Ghost in 12th, Big Ben in 13th, Slow Motion Fire in 14th, Hoot Wheels in 15th position, DOR Hocus, Joe Beardy, Phantom, Mr. Chin or Mega Chin, Modern Weapon are 14th through, or make that 15th through 20th, and then in 21st, it's going to be Grim, Lil Bambier in 22nd, and unfortunately, we've lost our 23 of 23 out on the track, or 23rd of 23 out on the track. Nice little shot overhead there as Corvid has now fallen back by about 4 or 5 car lengths here to AMS Udakan, and catching up behind him is Cratrim. Nice little trail of cars back there with Audrex, Carbon, and Darkser. Let's go to Darkser in 6th position. Colin Dooley with a great question saying, how do I sign up for these races? FM4, that's the name of the league. Reddit.com/FM4 or reddit.com/r/FM4. Just click on that link that Nightbot dropped in there. That'll take you to the right place. And thank you very much for that follow. Same goes to, I'm just going to say Twinkie. Twinkie, thank you for the follow. Darks are now across the line here. Start of lap number 4. Carbon is looking to the outside there of Audrex, and then they go into single file formation going through the S's here. This is one part of the track, well, probably the most important part of the track on this particular configuration, to watch out and make sure that you're not cutting corners. We had the regulations in place during qualifying which prevented you from cutting those corners, because then you dirty your lap. And here they go, 3 wide, coming up to the little kink here, the right-hander. It's going to be Darkster on the right-hand side. Audrex was in the middle. Audrex now falling back to 6th position with Carbon on the outside line. Now Audrex is going to make a run back at Carbon. These two are going to go back-to-back. Left hands, right hands, all throughout this race. Jabs, everything that they can pull. As long as they're staying clean, they're doing it. Fighting for position there. In 4th, 5th, and 6th. And back there behind him, just a little bit behind him, is going to be DTR Maverick, a newcomer to the league. And Maverick's probably thinking, hey, you guys keep duking it out. Just gives me a chance to catch up. Grab 3 spots while I'm at it. Udakan is still our race leader. And still in 2nd position is Corvid. Cratrim falling a little bit farther behind in 3rd position. He'll soon be here on a racing island if he can't keep up. Darkster in 4th. Carbon, as we're watching here, in 5th with Audrex back behind him. Carbon locking up the brakes a little bit, entering the left-hander of the S's. And he's going to be able to maintain position. Audrex keeping 2 wheels, but now going to run wide out there off past the curbing. And this curbing here, you got to be careful. Although with 265 horsepower, C500 Performance Index cars, they're not likely to step out on you out on the curbing here at Yas Marina, but it can happen from time to time, especially if you're coming in on a slide job out of the corners. And Audrex still hanging out there in 6th position as Maverick is indeed closing in. Let's go a little bit further back here. Let's go to Hoot Wheels in 12th position. Hoot Wheels, opposite of her is IPR Wolf. Now IPR Wolf going ahead and dropping back behind. Now locks up the brakes as they head into the sharp left-hander. Hoot Wheels saw it coming. Everybody else was a little bit too antsy, a little too eager. That includes AX4X Big Ben, who looked to give Hoot Wheels a little bit of a tap there on the rear bumper. And Big Ben, that's a name that you're probably familiar with. Leader of the Online Racing Association, heading that crew up and all the great things that they do in Tora to bring great community. Again, almost upper echelon, just shy of pro-level Forza Motorsport Racing there in Tora. And the only reason they're just shy of that is they don't have the prize winnings that the likes of the Le Mans Esports Race Series has, or the Forza Racing Championship. But you better believe a lot of the folks that you see in those events, they come out of Tora. So it's great to see a little bit of love here. Tora in the Forza Spec Racing Series, or Tora represented here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. AMS Udakan still leading them and has done so since the first lap of this race. He qualified in 2nd, with Corvid having the pole position, and then Corvid fell back. Cratrim still there in 3rd and just hanging on in that Swordfish Motorsport livery before he starts to see that gap increase between him and Corvid. Let's go back to Carbon here, who's been duking it out with Audrex. And now he's got Darkster there in 4th position, and Audrex looks like maybe opening the door there for Maverick. When we see that in the background, Maverick going to the inside through the left-hander and coming up to the kink. Let's go back there. Maverick, and it does appear Maverick has fallen back to 7th position, at least tentatively. Let's see if he can get his nose back out there in front of Audrex. Got the flex tape livery on that car. I'm sure the flex tape folks would appreciate that. I don't think we've ever seen that sponsor represented out here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Keeping it clean now is Maverick, as he's waiting for Audrex, perhaps to see if he makes a mistake. And now Carbon is going to line it up here on Darkser as they go 2 wide down the stretch, coming up to the S's. Turns 1 and 2 here on the South Circuit. 1.47 miles. Carbon, no opportunity there on the outside. Going to peer to the inside, but can't make it happen as Darkster closed the door. And so here they'll go through the left-hander. Not too much elevation change. You do have a bit of it coming through the S's and up out of that left-hander. Then you hit this kink, and then it's a slight gradual downhill slope as really there is no other part on this track that has any undulation to it. It's a pretty flat and level circuit all around. The only exception, the only real exception is on the corkscrew if you run the north short circuit, which we are on the south, so we don't have that here. Dino Dado saying, come on, Carbon, make a move. And Audrex now with Maverick once again going side by side back there. Let's go to Audrex. As we're on board here, and the camera will eventually come out for us. Audrex with the, like I said, typically an AMD Risen gear, and now he's got the Wu-Tang Clan plastered on that vehicle. One Tiny Panda and Colin Dooley. Thank you very much for the follows. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's run through the field here on lap number 9. It's AMS Udakan who has a sizable gap now here on SGR Corvid for first. And Kratrum is in third, Darkser in fourth, Carbon is fifth with Audrex in sixth. Then in seventh is Maverick, followed by Slipstream, Fear the Fun, and Hoot Wheels in 8th, 9th, and 10th respectively. Chaos Fox in 11th, Big Ben in 12th, IPR Wolf in 13th with Slow Motion Fire back behind him in 14th. Born as Ghost, DOR Hocus, LMP Phantom, Joe Beardy, and Modern Weapon, followed by Mega Chin, make up 15th through 20th. Then Grim and Little Bambier before a 23rd driver who unfortunately has fallen out of this race. It's going to be Matsky. Matsky with a DNF, unfortunately. That'll yield 3 points. Hanging out still here with Audrex and Maverick, our closest battle through the top 7. And here comes Maverick now, going to make a run to the inside. Audrex perhaps missing his mark, or just knew that Maverick was going to take the inside line and knew that he couldn't close that door. He couldn't run up on him and jam him toward the apex, and so he had no choice but to give him the lane, and he does. And Maverick with a smooth move there through turns 2, now in 6th position. Go back to Fear the Fun in 9th, and we'll go to that Virtual Autosport Instant Replay, or the Virtual Autosport Rewind there with Maverick taking that position. Nice camera angle, one of the few that we get here in Forza Motorsport. Thank you very much, and there he goes around through corners 1, 2, and even 3. T-Phrase with the gifted sub to Dino Dado. Thank you very much, T-Phrase. T-Phrase, long time no talk. We got to get you on the mic sometime soon. Here comes Slipstream now in 8th position, closing in on Audrex and Maverick. So Audrex has got to be careful, otherwise he might lose a few more spots. And you better believe Fear the Fun, who's eager to see himself in the top 8, which he finished in Season 32 or higher, is going to try to make a run at it, especially here with Slipstream. That's going to be the first one he's going to have to get through with the Hypermax livery on that Pontiac Solstice. Perhaps getting a little bit too far into the inside on that left-hander. And Hoot Wheels back behind him has now moved up to 10th position. Let's go to Hoot Wheels, and let's go ahead and ride on board here for the back half of the 1.47 mile Yas Marina South Circuit. And Dino Dado saying, T-Phrase, you're the man. He is the man. T-Phrase coming out of nowhere with the subscription, the gift sub. Hoot Wheels running a little bit wide underneath the people walkway there at the I got to figure out what the name of that building is. It's a gorgeous facility. And here comes Fear the Fun looking at Slipstream. A few missteps by Slip there has allowed both Fear the Fun and Hoot Wheels to close in. So this battle from 7th on back to 10th, make that 6th or even 5th all the way back to 10th. Quite a close one as AMS Udakan continues to extend his lead over Corvid, and pretty soon here Corvid will be racing solo, and as a matter of fact our camera can't even catch any other vehicle in view. Back behind Kratrum in Fourth position is going to be Carbon, the newcomer here to the Forza Spec Racing Series with that orange number board. Let's see what Carbon's going to be able to do. We had some folks cheering him on there in the pit lane, and now Darkser in the Martina car is going to make a move on the outside, so Darkser is going to try to grab at least one position. If not, he might lose a spot because here comes Maverick. Back toward the line for the beginning of lap number 13 for these four. And here comes Carbon. Darkser down the stretch across the line. Behind him is Maverick. There goes Carbon putting on a blocking maneuver right out in front of Darkser. And now Darkser says thank you, but no thanks. He's going to take the inside line, and he now makes the pass, at least for now. Carbon's got the most momentum. He's going to take it out of three. Reclaims fourth position. Oh my, if this continues on all throughout this season, folks, you are in for a huge treat. This Forza Spec Racing Series is going to be something special. 33 seasons, one of the longest running community leagues that you will find in Forza Motorsport. And if you are not a part of the action out on the track, well, you need to head over to reddit.com/r/FM4 and get yourself signed up. They would love to have you. Almost a full grid here in this race. I suspect we'll have one maybe in race number 2 heading out to the Bugatti circuit at Le Mans. And Solar Gambler with 5 gifted subscriptions. Are you guys kidding me here tonight? Solar Gambler giving one to Hoot Wheels, Slow Motion Fire, No Brakes WC, Born as Ghost, and Chetler. Dropping the cheddar. Solar Gambler. My, oh my. Thank you very much. Carbon now is going to ride solo up to turn number 1 after the fiasco that we had back there a lap ago. And we'll go ahead and take a look at it at the Virtual Autosports Instant Replay. Let's drop back now to Audrex, who continues to see himself moving back in the pack. And here comes Hoot Wheels, now up another spot to 9th, looking to get a double pass for 6th. Make that 7th if she can make it happen. Going to go to the inside here, Fear the Fun. The angle of attack looks good. Can she make it happen through the next right-hander? At least has Fear the Fun. Goes ahead and parks herself right on the backside there of Audrex. Now takes it to the inside. Oh my gosh, what a move. Can't make it stick though. And going to run a little bit wide up under the guardrail. Knocks the lamp out there on the right-hand side of the Solstice. But I don't think that'll be the last time we see Hoot Wheels go for it. As a matter of fact, they're in 8th position now in front of Fear the Fun and almost tried to cut it inward on Audrex. T-Frey saying, I would jump in there for an interview, but this racing is just too damn exciting. I hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Season 33, the opening week, race number 1. Yes, we are not even one race into this thing yet. I'm Dustin Moore. Glad to be bringing the action to you live here on Twitch TV, Virtual Autosports. And again, for those of you who may be watching on demand, thank you very much, so much for clicking that button and taking a look at the racing action here after the fact. We'll have more of it for you all over the next 4 weeks after tonight, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here. And we'll take a look at that schedule once again. I know a lot of you joining us at this point, this juncture. So we'll recap of what we have to look forward to, which, again, with this racing action, we've got a lot to look forward to. Our race leader and continuing to extend that lead every single lap. AMS Udakan in first. SGR Corvette there in second position. Craytrim in third. Carbon in fourth. And then this battle that you see back here for 7th and 8th, it's right behind that of Carbon in 4th. And so you got Darkser in 5th, Maverick in 6th, Audrex, I was going to say in 7th, but Hoot Wheels is making a case for it. There she goes to the inside. Had no room to make a pass in the racing, within the racing space. The track limits, had to go off into the grass there a little bit. And oh my gosh, some haymakers being tossed around out here at Yas Marina. Hoot Wheels running wide once again, coming out of the left-hander past the S's. That's turn number 4. Now she claims 7th position and gets out there by about a half a car length as Audrex and Fear the Fawn are now going to go ahead and wage war on one another. Wu-Tang on Hypermax. And you see Grim there, one of our back markers, and oh no, Grim gets out in front of Audrex. Audrex is now going to lose 2 positions there to Fear the Fun and Slipstream. Slipstream now up to 9th. Unfortunate for Audrex, but you knew as he continued to fall back in the pack that it was going to come down to something like that where you were either going to get caught up with a lot of traffic, a lot of cars around you, and there was going to be some sort of incident, or what we just saw there, one of those back markers, unfortunately, just not enough room for everybody to get through, and slows Audrex up, taking him to the up to the guardrail there through turn number 7. Rhino GT. Rhino GT with the follow. And H-Max coming in with the 100 bits. Solar Gambler with the 100 bits. Where are you guys coming from? We haven't had a night like this on a Tuesday that I could ever remember. And here comes Darkster in 5th position, leading Maverick and Hoot Wheels through the, I don't want to say the final left-hander because you have one here and then you got a little bit of a kick before you get to the start-finish line for the beginning of lap number 18 of 26. Back on board with Hoot Wheels. Hoot Wheels is going to do it once again. She's made that pass a time or two already through 1 and 2. And here in 3, does it. Now up to 4. Has a run on Darkser. 265 horsepower, cranking it out. Only 5 more than this vehicle had coming off the showroom floor. The 2009 Pontiac Solstice GXP. Now up to the right-hander. Darkster's got the inside line. He's going to run a little bit wide up under the curbing. And that effectively blocks Hoot Wheels. And now Darkster back up to 5th position. Back behind them, Maverick. Fear the Fun. And holy smokes, I don't even know how we did that, but we are up to a level 2 hype train emote for what, for me? Oh my gosh. What is going on? What's happening? And Darkster is going to be on the low line. Hoot Wheels on the inside. And look at that, the old switcheroo. Hoot Wheels has got it back up to 5th position coming in on turn 3. Oh my gosh. Hoot Wheels. No shortage of maneuvers out here. Just when you think you've got her locked up and blocked through the corner, she goes ahead, pulls a Hail Mary on you. Let's take a look at that one from the hood of Fear the Fun in the Virtual Auto Sports Rewind. Hoot! It's Hoot's version of the goal in football or soccer. Hoot! Up to 5th position and now has about a car and a half length lead there on Darkster. Fear the Fun to the inside of Maverick. And oh no, it looks like maybe a little bit of a sim twitch there by Darkster. And Darkster's going to run wide. And oh no, we've got all kinds of things going on. I'm not sure what's happening. We've dropped back now to little Bambier. I think we might have lost somebody. So let's try to get back up to the front here. Let's go to Fear the Fun in 6th position. Unfortunately, something has gone awry. Yes, 7 laps remaining here in this 26-lap race. Maverick now gets kicked out, coming through 2. Fear the Fun leaves him in his rearview mirror, takes off in the Hypermax car, and now Slipstream moves up to 7th position. And Darkser, unfortunately, DCs, gets disconnected in this race after doing so well. You hate to see it. Hoot Wheels now, who is in 5th, trying to track down Carbon. And there we go. We're riding from the front bumper of Hoot Wheels' Pontiac Solstice, and Carbon is within view here in the next 6 laps. Can she make it happen into the blue painted section here of the tarmac at Yas Marina before bringing it back out to the outside, lining it up for turns 1 and 2, where she's been also successful here in race number 1 of season 33. T-Wall, STL with the follow, and Riot, or Rots, or maybe it's Virots. I apologize for butchering the name, but thank you for the follow. All right, folks, quickly through the field, we've got AMS Udakan, who, barring any sort of disaster, should win this race, followed by Corbin in 2nd, Craytream in 3rd, Carbon in 4th with Hoot Wheels, who we're seeing right now in 5th position, tracking Carbon down, and Carbon's got a few of those back markers out in front of him that he'll have to contend with. Fear the Fun in 6th, Slipstream in 7th, Maverick in 8th position. Audrex, who's had a few misfortunes, fortunately hangs on to a top 10 spot here in 9th. Big Ben up to 10th position. Chaos Fox in 11th. Wolf is in 12th. Born as Ghost is 13th. Slow Motion Fire, Joe Beardy, DOR Hocus, and Phantom are 14th through 17th. Megachin in 18th. Grim in 19th. Lil Bambir in 20th. And unfortunately, we've had 3 disconnects here in this race. Let's go ahead and drop back to 8th position with Maverick, who is now, as Hoot Wheels has taken off on these 3, has Slipstream and Fear the Fun to deal with. Running a little bit wide up under the runoff area. Past the also expensive yachts there off to the right-hand side. T-Frey saying that Lil Bambir is a Pistons fan. There you go, Detroit Piston NBA fan, and unfortunately, with all the stoppage in sports, who knows who would have won this season? And oh, there goes Lil Bambir, hot into the corner, almost giving a nice little punt there to Fear the Fun, and that would have been devastating. Lil Bambir, 1 lap down. Fear the Fun able to escape. Feared the disaster there is what Fear was fearing, and unfortunately he was able to avoid it. Slipstream here now back to 7th with Maverick moving up to 6th. And where did Hoot Wheels go? Hoot Wheels. We've got Udakan, we've got Corbin, Craytrim, Carbon, Fear the Fawn, Maverick. Unfortunately, somewhere in there, Hoot Wheels got disconnected. Wow, that is a big time unfortunate situation right there, with Hoot Wheels clawing her way up to possibly making a run for 4th position. Now with a DNF, which again yields you just 3 points. Let's go to DTR Maverick here in 6th behind Fear the Fun, as they have now shaken the pesky Slipstream off their back. CMD Slipstream. Fear the Fun making that entry into turn number 1 a little precarious looking. Yeah, everything was going so well for Hoot Wheels. That's a devastating. Fortunately, there is a drop week rule in effect here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. It is, I can imagine, hard after having such a great run to come off of that, knowing that you didn't get any points out of that, and try to replicate it in week number 2. But perhaps Hoot Wheels can make it through race number 2 here tonight out of the Bugatti circuit of Le Mans, and that way, if she can finish high in terms of points in that second race, at the very least you've got a fallback in week number 1, and then really pour it on in 2, 3, 4, and then the finale in week 5. Here comes in 6th position Maverick, who's been juggled from 4th on back to 7th and 8th now taking on Fear the Fun on lap number 25 of 26. Next time by the flag stand, they'll get the white flag. Civic Element with the follow. Thank you, Civic. And Maverick goes to the inside, able to make a run here on Fear the Fun, and there he goes. Maverick in the Flex Tape Pontiac Solstice, your new P5 driver. That could change. Very well could change. We've seen a lot of passes there through the first 4 corners, and Maverick's going to run way wide coming through turn 6. And then a little bit of door bashing there. Fear the Fun's going to attack him on the right-hand side with Slipstream, who has caught back up. And now, once you, if you blink, you're going to miss it. Slipstream from a couple car lengths back in 7th, now up to 6th, and going to make a run here at Fear the Fun for 5th. AMS Unicon has gone past the flag stand, white flag flying, so halfway through the final lap for him. Corbin in 2nd, Craytrim in 3rd, Carbon in 4th, and we'll stay with this battle 5th, 6th, and 7th. Fear the Fun, Slipstream, and Maverick. Slipstream, a little hard on the brakes there through turn number 1. Maverick's going to look to the inside. This trio has gone at it all race long. Will it continue into race number 2? I bet it does, but you're going to have to hang out and see race number 2 coming up after this. We'll have the qualifying out there at Le Mans Bugatti, and then the 16-lapper to conclude things here in week number 1. And our race leader, Unicon, now the winner, parks it into turn number 1. Let's see, here comes Slipstream, trying to make a last-ditch effort to grab 5th. And with that move there by Fear the Fun, goes ahead and does one little blocking maneuver, and Fear the Fun will claim 5th. Slipstream in 6th, Maverick in 7th. Let's go back quickly to Big Ben in 9th position, who's just behind Audrex. Audrex in 8th. Chaos Fox will grab 10th. IPR Wolf in 11th. Born as Ghost is coming around the last couple of turns here in 12th position. And behind Born as Ghost is going to be Joe Beardy. And behind Joe Beardy in 14th is Hocus in the what looks to be a Coca-Cola car. And Hocus will grab 14th position. 15th goes to Phantom, Mega Chin in 16th, Grim in 17th, Lil Bambir in 18th, and unfortunately, Hoot Wheels, Darkser, Modern Weapon, and one other driver, I think for a total of 4, falling out, maybe even 5 in this race, unfortunately. We really, really hate to see that. Folks, we're going to go ahead and go into a quick little 180-second commercial break here. That'll allow folks who join us there for race number 2 to not miss any of the action. And I promise you, you won't miss any of the action. We'll be right back talking to some of our drivers here in the driver spotlight before we get ready for week number 1, race 2, out at the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. I'm Dustin Moore. This is the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 33, here on Virtual Autosports and Twitch TV. For those of you not seeing ads right now, either because you're in a region where there are no ads to be played, or if you're a subscriber, thank you very much for that support, either as a sub or as a viewer here. Hang out with us. Again, we'll have some broadcast booth visitors here from our drivers to let us know what they thought of race number 1 there at Yas Marina South, and then we'll get ready for things out there at the Bugatti circuit, getting hopefully what will be another full grid, and cross our fingers, knock on wood, all that good stuff, that we don't lose any of our drivers there in race number 2. We'll be right back here in about 2 minutes. race. Koenigsegg, yep, he's got the advantage, but unironically, the average ducks to the inside. What a move! But Koenigsegg accelerating back on the outside. And there goes Salty Bonkos to the inside. Bashing door panels, sparks flying, smoke spraying. The Butler is going to go wide. Salty Bonkos on the inside. They're a little bit off the pace, but now accelerating all 500 horsepower. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to week number 1 of season 33 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. And if you missed race number 1, you'll want to watch it back in our instant replay, our rerun that we'll have immediately following this broadcast, or you can catch it on demand here at twitch.tv/virtual autosports in the past broadcast /highlights section. Go take a look at that for all the action that you missed here, not only in race number 1, but all throughout season 33. And with that, we're going to go ahead and bring in SFM Darkster. And SFM Darkster, man, you were having a great run back there in that battle from about 4th on back to 7th or 8th. Unfortunately, we saw what looked to be a sim twitch going into that final left-hander Yas Marina South, but then you came into the pit lane and told us that it was a DC altogether.
Yeah, the FM4 curse continues for me. Can't seem to finish both races in a given round.
Just can't shake it. That being said, and I mentioned how you were up there in the top 8. You seem to have the Pontiac Solstice tuned up pretty well. At least it was there for Yas Marina. I know maybe this race here at Le Mans won't mean so much if this ends up being your drop week, but are you pretty comfortable with where you've got the car?
Well, qualifying were my 3rd, 4th, and 5th laps in the car.
Okay.
So, here for a good time, not for a long time, I think is the saying.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what to expect at Le Mans here, but I guess we'll find out.
That's not the first time we've heard that from many of our drivers here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, as this is more of like Slow Motion Fire, we'll call it like a beer league, where there's not necessarily the amount of pressure on drivers to do a lot of testing and tuning before the race. You can kind of just show up and wing it. But that being said, do you go in after week number 1 here and make any finite adjustments to the car? What adjustments you can here to the Pontiac Solstice?
Yeah, you make a couple of adjustments. Just want to make sure the car's drivable at whatever track. Make sure you're not going to rev bang in your top gear. So just a little quality of life adjustments, but it's not going to be like hours and hours of sweating for hundredths.
And so that battle between, like I said, from about 4th on back to 7th, 8th, which included Fear the Fun, Maverick was in there, Hoot Wheels was closing in. This might be the grouping that we see you with all throughout the season, at least I would think, yeah?
It's possible. Never can tell for sure.
And it was getting a little bit interesting out there, too. I mean, it's a nice showing that you can be a little bit more aggressive in a league like this. Granted, there was nobody really getting any punts out there. It was just a lot of door jamming, a lot of rubbing. Rubbing is racing. We hear that from Days of Thunder. So everything looked pretty clean from our vantage point. Would you say the same?
Yeah, it was hard but respectful racing.
Okay.
Nobody was doing anything too crazy.
All right. Well, hey, Darkster, we wish you better luck here in race number 2 of tonight's action, and hopefully the connection will stick with you. It looks like Slow Motion Fire is going to go ahead and get everybody into a new lobby.
All right, thanks, man. Both the same.
So, yeah, and I'm working on it as it's happening here, because we've got the lobby that appears to be getting switched here as Slow Motion Fire is maybe trying to work out some of the little kinks that there were in that lobby. Hey, let's throw that one in the trash and let's pick up a new one. Frozen Toes 24. Thank you very much for the raid here of 17. Welcome, folks, from the Frozen Toes channel, and welcome to the Forza Motorsport 7 Forza Spec Racing Series here live on Virtual Autosports. I'm Dustin Moore, and we just wrap things up out at Yas Marina Short and getting ready for 20. Check that. Make that 3 laps of qualifying out here at the Le Mans Bugatti circuit, and then that'll be a 16-lapper there for the race to conclude things here tonight in Week 1. Any of these drivers, if this happens to be their worst week of the schedule that you currently see there on the screen, then this will be their drop week. They only keep the 4 top weeks of 5 weeks to count toward your championship total. So a lot of these folks who unfortunately are seeing disconnects in race number 1 can maybe turn that around in race number 2, even better in week 2, 3, 4, and the finale in week 5. And for those of you who are watching, and perhaps you're going to be able to snake yourself into a lobby spot for week number 2, get over there to reddit.com/r/fm4 and get signed up. If they do have a spot for you there in week number 2, you can get into the mix and be in the running for the championship. That's the important thing to note. If you're missing it here in week 1, that's okay. If there's a spot for you in week 2, they'll get you in, and you can have a shot at winning the championship. What comes with that? Well, you get the bragging rights, but then also you get to pick the vehicle for season number 34. That's exactly what LMP Chicago did, winning season number 32, grabbing this Pontiac Solstice out the garage of Forza Motorsport 7 and saying, hey, this is the one that we're running. All right, we've got another driver here in the driver's spotlight. It's DOR, well, formerly known as DOR Corvid. Make that SGR Corvid. And Corvid, you want to give the fans, the viewers here, a little update on what you're up to, what team you're on now?
Yeah, I recently joined Scrubs Go Racing. It's a fairly new formal team. It's kind of existed as a team within teams for a while, kind of the worst kept secret, rather, of the community. So I just wanted to move towards a more for fun team since my hand injury, and I felt like Delta's more professional air didn't really suit my recovery very well.
Gotcha. And folks, if you weren't with us in season 32, Corvid here is an American hero, stopped a dogfight and unfortunately sustained an injury as such on his hand. And of course, with virtual motorsports being so much about what you can do with a controller, that has affected him a little bit. And as I understand it, Scrubs Go Racing, a little bit of a partnership with the Solar Vision Racing team, as I understand.
Yeah, the best way to explain it is the Wood Brothers partnership with Penske or Roush, whichever it is. We're our own thing, but we will interchange drivers and such for the larger events like Entora and stuff like that.
All right, so enough talk about your involvement with teams. Let's talk about what happened there in race number 1. You were on the pole spot coming out of qualifying there at Yas Marina Short and gave that up to AMS Udakan within the first half of lap number 1. And then after that point, AMS Udakan took off. So what's it going to take to keep pace with them now that we head out to Bugatti and then, of course, on through the rest of the season?
The important thing is just going to be to out-qualify him and try to stay in front. What happened last round is I just locked it up heading into the hotel section and just kind of slid straight off into the paint. So just kind of handed in that one. If I can mount a defense, I think there might be something there, but my goals are realistic. I'm aiming for 2nd or 3rd in this season. So
I had another question to ask you, but I think you actually bring up an even better point. You talk about defense. For those folks who are watching us and maybe they're not necessarily as engaged with real-world motorsport and understand kind of the body of rules that come with leagues and organized events, what does defensive maneuvering look like in motorsport? And then in particular here with the Forza Spec Racing Series.
So the rules here are a bit more relaxed than most of your higher profile events like through Tora, FRC, stuff like that. My game just crashed while I was doing this. Anyway, so defense in the motorsport sort of context is the car ahead has the right to their line, so they're allowed to continue to take corners and such as they have been. And it's the driver behind's initiative to get around the vehicle ahead
Mm-hmm.
without pushing them off the track or otherwise causing some undue difficulty. So generally the rule is you can, if you're ahead, you can move once to sort of close off a line that you want to prevent a move from happening through. And that forces them to take a less than ideal line. Maybe it's around the outside through a corner, or they have to brake more heavily into a chicane, stuff like that. And it's sort of like this rock, paper, scissors match of you can give yourself the better line, but then they may try to shoot one up the inside, or you can block that and possibly sacrifice your entry speed into the corner to prevent that aggressive move that may come.
There you go, from one of the drivers himself, and one of the drivers that you'll see at the front of the pack for the majority of these races here in Season 33. DOR Corvid, or now known as SGR Corvid. They're part of the Scrubs Go Racing team. And Corvid, I'm going to go ahead and throw you back over to the game lobby, because I know you're trying to work through now a disconnect of your own here, as the gremlins are in full effect here tonight, and whether that be because of the added strain to the interwebs, the worldwide web that we have here, with a lot of folks now isolated or quarantined at home, or if it's just because the servers aren't behaving as well as they normally do. Whatever that case may be, Corbett will hop back into the lobby here in due time. As a matter of fact, has already done so, and we're just one driver shy of that full lobby. Here comes Salty Bonkos, who's going to hop into the mix. So Salty Bonkos, we didn't see in race number 1. Going to go ahead and get into the action here in race number 2. Perhaps get a little bit more familiarity with the 2009 Pontiac Solstice GXP before really getting into the mix in week number 2, if he's going to make a run here at the Season 33 championship. The 2009 Pontiac Solstice GXP, I told you guys a little bit earlier on in the broadcast, they've only increased the horsepower by 5 total horsepower here for this season. So it's not a substantial increase by any stretch of the imagination. That comes by way of street exhaust. They also have a race flywheel applied to the vehicle, platform and handling. You have race brakes, race springs, and race front and rear roll bars. That allows you to really get into the finite details as far as vehicle handling goes. So where there's not substantial increases in horsepower and performance, on the handling side, you're able to do a lot more to keep this car where you want it. Sport weight reduction brings it down from 2,882 pounds. You bring that down by 237 pounds. Actually, no, check that. The vehicle is down at 2,882. That's a difference of 237 pounds when it came off the showroom floor. Then a race roll cage, a street clutch, sport transmission, which again is important because that allows them to adjust the final drive, but not much else in between. Then you've got the street driveline race differential. And then as far as tires go, the rears are 305s, 35s on 18-inch rims. I'd have to double-check what we've got there on the front. Those rims, those wheels being HRE P45 SC rims. And then for the aero package, not the Forza aero, so you don't get the ability to make any of the adjustments to the aero itself for grip or for speed. Instead, you just get the street front bumper and rear bumper with street side skirts. And here we go, getting ready for qualifying out at the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. One of my favorite tracks that I wouldn't necessarily put on my top 5 or top 10 list, but every time I get out here, I go, hey, this track's not too bad. The only trick for me is really coming out of Michelin Corner, going downhill into turn number 1, a sharp left. Well, it's actually not even turn number 1. It's going to be turn number 3 out here on this circuit after you come out of the Dunlop corner. That third turn, it's a doozy. We'll see if it's as bad as it is in other vehicles. This 265 horsepower Pontiac Solstice, though, it might not be that difficult. It's a long, swooping right-hander with not much camber to the corners, so you don't get the help of gravity to keep you down toward the apex. Instead, you got to keep it pretty clean. As you can see right there, it's going to be Mega Chin running a little bit wide through turn number 1. Let's drop back to 10th with CMD Slipstream, and we'll ride on board. A look here at the Bugatti circuit from his vantage point. And there in the bottom right-hand corner. We'll go ahead and get some statistics thrown in there as soon as they come across the line. That'll begin to populate. And, of course, this being their standing start lap, the next 2 laps should be quicker. The goal is to get a good lap that is pretty quick. That way you are higher up or further up in the grid for the start of the race. Whoever gets pole position, that's the driver who dictates when the race starts, as opposed to many other leagues across the Forza community where either the Forza countdown is what you go by or there's a pace lap. How things are done here in the Forza Spec Racing Series is the drivers all stay in their grid order on the line. They don't move. As soon as that pole driver, though, has peeled off or indicates that they're peeling off by the slightest bit of motion, everybody else is permitted to leave. eSwan123, thank you very much for that follow. And again, Frozen Toes 24 with that raid not too long ago, bringing in a good grouping of folks in here. And by good, I mean like just cool people to hang out with too. Frozen Toes has a wonderful community that she's built up over there on her channel. And if you're not yet following Frozen Toes 24, make sure you do that before you log out of Twitch today. Doing a lot in the NASCAR Heat 3 title. So if you're a big NASCAR fan, you can catch a lot of that action there. But every once in a while, you'll see Frozen Toes doing something a little bit different. Give her a follow. Frozen Toes, one of our commentators about a year ago for the 2.4 hours of Nürburgring. And you can find that race in its entirety here at twitch.tv/Virtual Autosports over in our highlights section. Heat 4, I'm sorry, not Heat 3. She did race in NASCAR Heat 3, and then as soon as Heat 4 came out, then migrated over there. All right, it's going to be Kratrium right now with a 158.323. Again, that's a standing start, so we'll see what changes happen here over the next the next minute as they do lap number 2. Going back to Fear the Fun here in the Hypermax car, finishing 5th there in race number 1 out at Yas Marina Short Circuit, and a driver that you'll want to keep your eyes on. He finished 8th overall in Season 32, has aspirations to do much better, and it really is quite astonishing. Fear the Fun not shy about sharing his challenges with vision. He's got some vision issues, complications that he has to battle through, and so great work by him to do what he does to get through these races and not just get through them, but excel at them. All right, DTR Maverick. DTR Maverick, who fell back there in that first race, was up as far as 4th position, finished in 7th behind Slipstream. Currently has the fastest time. Now make that AX4X Big Ben. Now go ahead and hand that over to Darkser with a 156.825. We go run through the list of drivers who signed up for Season 33 as you watch SGR Corvid finished 2nd there in race number 1. We've got Viral Mist in the number 3 car, in the number 5 car, LMP Chicago, who's not out there tonight, but perhaps we'll see him jump back in there for week number 2. Then it's Carbon in the number 8 Pontiac Solstice. Garuda in the number 10. Number 13 car is Born as Ghost 91. Kratrium in the number 14. Car number 17 is Slow Motion Fire. Car 18 is AX4X Big Ben. Then car 32 is DOR Corvid, who we're seeing here right now in that green number board. Corvid, a longtime competitor here in the Forza Spec Racing Series and a multi-time champion here in FM4. Audrex, car number 33. LSEM Chaos Fox in car number 34. Modern Weapon has car 42. DRR Hocus in car 47. Car 48 is Joe Beardy. Slipstream at 49. Grim is 57. Fear the Fun in number 67. Number 76 goes to Megachin, one of the new drivers here in FM4. Funtang, number 82, who I haven't seen out here tonight, and I don't think he got into the lobby for race number 2. LMP Phantom in car number 91. Car number 99 is AMS Udakan, our winner there in race number 1 out at Yas Marina. IPR Wolf in car 133, and then car 1312 is Hoot Wheels. Hoot Wheels, who unfortunately had that disconnect after probably one of the more stellar showings, and there were plenty of them. plenty of them in race number 1, but probably one of the best runs was Hoot Will. So we'll see if she's able to forget about that first race, make something exciting happen here in race number 2, and then really go for it. If she hasn't already, try to turn things around in terms of the points because of that 3-point total that she'll get in race 1, unfortunately for the DNF. Got to make it happen in race 2, 3, 4, and 5 for a championship run. Hoot, says H Max. Solar Gambler even has a little choo-choo train next to that Twitch tag. That's cool. I've not seen that before. I don't know if that's something I can see or if all you can see it, but I see a little choo-choo train there. Solar Gambler coming in with the 5 gifted subscriptions here earlier. In the midst of a crazy race, might I add. There was a lot of action going on, and I was probably nearing cardiac arrest. Carbon now with a 6. Well, that's not right. Best lap is Carbon with a 155. That 6:33 is total time out on track. And it looks like the majority of our drivers, if they haven't already, there might be just 1 or 2 drivers waiting to cross the line, but everybody else should have completed their 3 qualifying laps. And there we go. We're going to head back to the lobby. Salty Bonko saying, I've been playing way too much Wreckfest, so maybe the physics of Wreckfest messing with Salty Bonkos a little bit here in Forza Motorsport 7. AX4X Big Ben there with a 157.153. Let me go ahead and turn off the volume here in game. Mega Chin with a 2 minutes, almost 2 minutes flat, just 0.4 of a second there on the end of that time. Audrex with a 157.356, just a couple of tenths behind Big Ben there. LSCM Chaos Fox with a 158.591. Fear the Fun at a 158 as well. IPR Wolf with the 157.152. Grem with that triangle and the exclamation mark. That indicates that it's a dirty lap. So unfortunately for Grem, that'll be a back toward the back of the pack for him for the start of race number 2 in week 1. Slow Motion Fire with a 158.331. CMD Slipstream with a 157.431. Craytrim with a 156. Cranking out a quick time there with a 069 on the back half of that one. So we'll bump that against some of the other drivers here. But just below Craytrim, I see a 155.791 by Carbon. That might be good for pole position. A 156.704 by Hoot Wheels, who might be on a revenge tour here very early on in week number 1. Or very early on season 33, and then DOR Hookus with a 205.642, AMS Udakan with a 156.165, 158.447 for Born as Ghost, a 201 by Joe Beardy, or excuse me, by LMP Phantom, then it's 158.960 by Joe Beardy. SGR Corvid with a 156.225. I think that's going to be good enough for row number 2. Modern Weapon with a 2 minutes and 7.23 on the tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. And then it's Salty Bonkos with a dirty lap as well, a 156.329. DTR Maverick with a 157.287. Little Bambier at 208.455. And Darkser with a disconnect there coming out of qualifying. Let's see if there's anybody real quick for a driver spotlight chat. I don't see anybody in there. We can maybe take somebody for a good 30 seconds if anybody's willing to hop in. Otherwise, getting ready for what will undoubtedly be another stellar performance here in week number 1. It's just week 1. We got 4 more weeks of this, and it's going to be great. Looking ahead to the schedule next week, a week from tonight, we've got Road America, the full circuit. Yes, 12 laps around Road America full. You thought here in the Pontiac Solstice they'd pick one of the short tracks. They did not. Then it's to the Top Gear West Circuit in reverse for 50 laps. So a mega number of in terms of laps, but a very short track. So that one will go quickly. There in week number 3, so 2 weeks from tonight, Road Atlanta, the full circuit, and then the Nürburgring Nordschleife, the Green Hell, for week number 3, race number 6, 4 laps. That'll be a doozy. And we're going to go ahead and wait for the frames to catch back up, and all the drivers are getting ready to up on the grid and in the lobby. Looks like we're getting our frames back. There we go. Week number 4, heading out to Silverstone for the International Circuit in some weather. So that'll be the only race that we have here in Season 33 where there is some precipitation. They'll have moderate rain, then some drizzle and overcast skies to contend with. Follow that up with Virginia International Raceway, the full circuit, the very complex VIR, and then to cap it all off with one fantasy track here in Season 33, that being Prague, the short track in reverse for 69 laps. That is the only fantasy track here in Season 33, and somebody anonymously giving a Tier 1 subscription to Big Ben. Thank you very much, the anonymous gifter. And there you go, Big Ben. You're now indoctrined as a pit pass holder here on Virtual Auto Sports. And my thanks to everybody. Even if you're not subscribing, that's okay. That is way more than is needed at all here on this channel because of the infrequency of broadcast. Predictably broadcasting on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, but not much more beyond that. So if you are subscribing, then you are a crazy man. And especially if you're gifting subscriptions. But I do appreciate the support. All that goes back to the broadcast. And for everybody else, if you're following, that is exactly what I'm asking for. If you are enjoying the content here at Virtual Autosport, what I do ask you to do is click that follow button. It gets you a notification every time we go live here on the broadcast. But more importantly, for me as the broadcaster, it tells me that I'm doing something right. Something is being done correctly. So click that follow button, please. And like I said, every time we go live, you'll get the notification. And we'll read your name off. You get a nice little mention there in the lower third graphic here on the screen. Things moving a little bit slow here on the lobby side, but I suspect that slow motion fire making sure that everything is good to go before they head out to the track. And here we go, getting it loaded up. 23 drivers out on the grid. We did have Darkser DNF during the qualifying session, but that's not going to stop him from getting out on the track. At least I don't think so. Yeah, Darkser still out there. Salty Broncos joining the crew for the first time here in week number 1. Darkster says, I am return. I am here. All right. And after these 16 laps here at the Le Mans Bugatti circuit, hang tight with us. We're going to chat with some of our drivers who without question, we'll have some interesting and fun things to listen to. They'll have some things to say about the race here and what we can expect moving forward to week number 2 there at Road America and the Top Gear West Circuit. And then that'll be it. I have nothing else to preview here at the end of the broadcast. We may have some exciting things to share for you all as we go through season 33 here. So it may not be just entirely FM4 that you hear about. We might have some other cool opportunities to catch either me behind the mic, or I'll be sharing any of the other fine and exciting racing events that are happening throughout the Forza Motorsport community, which is really quite stellar, knowing that the Forza Motorsport 7 title is well past its usual lifespan. Like, in terms of all the Forza Motorsport titles, 2 years was really the max where one would die out and the next would come in. And now that Turn 10 Studios has decided to take a revised approach, or to change their development cycle here for the Motorsport franchise, or piece of the franchise, we'll see what that entails, and who knows whether it's going to be Forza Motorsport 8 or some other re-envisioning of the Motorsport piece of the brand. We will find out sooner rather than later, hopefully here in 2020, because that's when the Xbox One X is due to debut. Although we'll see with the craziness that is happening here in 2020, strange things could happen yet. So we'll assume the best, we'll hope for the best, and perhaps we'll have to deal with the worst, but hopefully not. We'll see. Anonymous with another subscription there to Funtang. Anonymous, whoever you are, thank you so much. And then Shared, or Cherry Red, or Sherry Red, thank you very much for the follow. And I appreciate you all hanging tight here through this little bit of an intermission. This is not typical. Usually things move a little bit quicker here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. As a matter of fact, it's usually me who's slowing them down with other a lot of interviews happening, and we've kind of pared that back a little bit here to keep things chugging along through the broadcast. But unfortunately, a series of disconnects and connectivity issues across the board there in race number 1 with like 5 disconnects. I think Slow Motion Fire is just ensuring that everything is on the up and up, at least the best that he can do to make sure that the race goes as smoothly as possible. There you go. It's going to be Carbon and Cratrium on row number 1. Back behind them on row number 2 is going to be Udakan and Corvid. Row 3 is Hot Wheels or Hoot Wheels and Dark Sir. IPR Wolf and Big Ben in row number 4. DTR Maverick, Oddrex, Slipstream, Slow Motion Fire, Ghost, Chaos Fox, Fear the Fun, Joe Beardy make up 9th through 16th, and then you see everybody else there 17th through 23rd as we get ready to head out here to the track. And SFM Darksir with the subscription. I told you guys, you don't need to do this because there are plenty of other broadcasters that broadcast more frequently who could use your support, but I will not look down a gift, what is it, a gift horse in the mouth? Whatever the heck that means. All right, here we go, folks. Getting ready for race number 2 here in week 1. Kick the tires, light the fires. Carbon signals the start of the race. Peels off pole position, and up toward Dunlop Corner they'll go in the 2009 Pontiac Solstice. It's Cratrium there in second with Corvid back behind him in third. There goes Carbon really taking off, and that's going to give him a good position in nice clean air and nobody to contend with heading through the S's. Back behind Corbin is going to be Udakan in 4th, Hoot Wheels in 5th. Cratrium's going to run a little bit wide, have to take the runoff area to avoid any contact with the oncoming traffic. And so now Cratrium's going to have some work cut out for him, falling back as far as it looks like 11th position, maybe even 12th. Going to Oddrex here in the Wu-Tang car, going through turn number 3, heading into the infield here of Lamar. Oddrex in 7th, Wolf in 8th, Chaos Fox in 9th, Maverick in 10th. Let's go to Hoot Wheels. They're in 4th position. Again, she got disconnected there in race number 1 on somewhat of a revenge tour here in race number 2. Going to try to make the most of it in week 1, although I suspect the majority of her points now will come from weeks 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that'll make up her championship points. So week 1 might be a loss at this point. And now here they go down the long straightaway in the infield section, and you really got to slow it down here for the left-right kicker. And watch out, because there is some kitty litter on either side of the corners here. You get into that, especially in these 265 horsepower Pontiac Solstices, you're not going to get out quickly. Our race leader continues to be Carbon up there in 1st. AMS Udakan now up to 2nd with Darksir in 3rd. Hoot Wheels, Big Ben, Corvid, Oddrex, IPR Wolf, Maverick, Chaos Fox, and here comes Hoot Wheels as they start chugging back toward the start-finish line. Unfortunately, not the greatest of camera angles there. And now it pulls back out, and here they go across the line, and Corbin's going to make a move around Big Ben there, up to 3rd. Let's go ahead and go back to Oddrex in 7th, and right on board, coming up to the Dunlop S's. They're 1 and 2. Solar Gambler is saying, get some. Woot hoot. I like it. Born as Ghost with the host. Thank you, Born as Ghost, who's now behind the sticks, driving the Pontiac Solstice around the Bugatti circuit. Into turn number 3. IPR Wolf right there on the back end. And it looks like, I'm trying to make out who that is. Oddrex now getting sideways, but I don't think Oddrex was the one that was chucking up all the smoke. I think somebody else got a little bit sideways into turn 3, forcing Oddrex to run wide, at least the way that I see it. I think it was AX4X Big Ben who was having trouble there through turn number 3. Has fallen back now from 5th to 7th, with Maverick moving up to 6th, Wolf in 5th, Corbin in 4th, Darksir in 3rd, and now here comes Maverick with Big Ben and Wolf right behind him in the rearview mirror. Side by side. Now they're going to go single file here on the back straightaway underneath the Lamar Bridge. Carbon, still our leader. Go to Cratrim in 8th position. It's been a long time since I've seen a race out here at the Le Mans circuit in Forza Motorsport 7. I'm trying to recall the last time visited this track for any community event. Hosted some of my own, the 2.4 hours of Lemons, and then a couple of Mileage Masters events. And there goes Big Ben bashing the door panel there of DTR Maverick. Big Ben now going to make a run for 4th. He's got it as they go underneath the Dunlop Bridge. And actually, that's 5th position for Big Ben, with Wolf in 6th, Maverick in 7th. And we are still on board here with Cratrim in 8th position. Hoot Wheels, you see in the distance, has fallen back to 11th. Let's go to Hoot Wheels. She goes to the inside there of, that's going to be the 12th place car of Borna's Ghost. Maverick coming out a little bit wide there through the hairpin. Doesn't give up position as a result, though, and it's going to be Cratrim who's going to look to the inside now. That's going to be Fear the Fun, so Fear the Fun will fall back into 7th. Oh, and there goes Big Ben, who spins it around through the S's there into the dirt, and now is going to give up many positions. Let's see, where does Big Ben fall back to? Big Ben in 16th position. Now here comes Hoot Wheels onto the back of, that's going to be the Swordfish Motorsport car of, I should know this, Cratrim. And here they come through the final right-hander, Fear the Fun. They go side by side, down the straightaway, across the line. Hoot Wheels, at least for now, in 8th. And now they're going to make it 3 wide in a staggered formation. Slipstream thinks better of it, though, as they enter turn number 1 here. And we'll go back to that incident with Maverick spinning it out. Coming through the second S's here out at Le Mans Bugatti Circuit. MS Udakan has now gotten around Carbon for the lead. Let's return to Carbon. Clearly no stranger to Forza Motorsport 7 with this this quick pace that he has. Finished 4th out there at the Yas Marina Short Circuit. Was leading this one before AMS Udakan, who won our race at Yas Marina, now claims the top spot on lap number 4. And if Carbon can't keep pace with Udakan, that's not going to bode well for anybody, because we saw in race number 1, Udakan established that lead and then was just gone with it. Was able to claim the win as early as halfway through lap number 1. That's when he got up there to P1 and then never fell back after. And so we'll see if Carbon's going to be able to hang with them in terms of pace. It's Darkser in 3rd. Darkser who got a disconnect, unfortunately, there in race number 1. Just as disappointing as Hoot Wheels' disconnect. Corvette in 4th. Let's go and see what that battle looks like right now. Starting to establish a bit of separation there is Darkser as they head up the hill. Bit more undulation here at the Bugatti circuit than there was at Yas Marina, but really this is it. Once you come down the hill from Dunlop Corner, then you dig it in there with the left front wheel, and then it's pretty flat elsewhere. Looking a little bit further back where we've just got a whole slew of cars. Hoot Wheels has now moved up to 6th position with Craytrim in 7th, Maverick in 8th, Slipstream in 9th, Fear the Fun in 10th, 11th is Born as Ghost, Salty Bonkos in 12th, Chaos Fox in 13th. I don't know that we've seen such a large grouping of cars here at Mid-Pack as we have here tonight in this second of 2 races in week number 1 of the Forza Spec Racing Series. This is going to be a remarkable season if it keeps up like this. I'm Dustin Moore on the mic with the call for you here in the Forza Spec Racing Series season number 33, Virtual Autosports here live on Twitch TV. Thank you so much for all your support here throughout the night. It's been remarkable. This has been an historic evening here for the channel on a Tuesday evening. No doubt. Maverick going to go ahead and look every direction possible around Craytrim to see if there's any chance to get by. No such luck. IPR Wolf now falls back to 6th with Hoot Wheels, doing exactly what she did, but a little bit quicker or earlier on in the race here at the Bugatti circuit than what was happening out there. And there goes Hoot Wheels off into the dirt, and she'll give up 5th, possibly even 6th and 7th. And so it might be a matter of consistency that is going to be the bane of Hoot Wheels' existence out here this season if this kind of jump forward, fall back type activity continues. Very rubber bandish. That's something you would see of the AI here in Forza Motorsport 7. Not typical of the player-controlled cars. And look at this. Hoot Wheels trying to make a 3-car pass for 6th. She's going to grab at least one of those from Audrex, I believe it is. No, Audrex is a little bit further back. That's going to be Craytrim. Nope. Take that back. That's IPR Wolf. And now a little bit of sparks there as Hoot Wheels gives Craytrim a little bit of a nudge. And so she's back up to 6th position. Going to have to reclaim 5th from Maverick. And Maverick sporting what looks to be a Texas license plate there on the back end of that Pontiac Solstice, representing the Lone Star State. And here, down the infield straightaway they come. Hoot Wheels out in front by a nose and a wheel, it appears. Regains 5th position. Way too exciting racing. This is almost unfathomable closeness in terms of the race. Like usually here in Forza Spec Racing Series, and not only in this league, but across other community leagues, you'll see like within a couple of laps that you'll get these big gaps between the front of the pack, the middle pack, and then the back pack. But really, this mid pack is quite contained. And oh, there goes oh my gosh, who was that? That's definitely IPR Wolf there in that yellow Pontiac Solstice coming out of the final right-hander toward the start-finish line, getting kicked out into the kitty litter, bringing it back out on track, and now Wolf finds himself running in 16th position. Oh my. Huge swing in position there, and now we see the backside of Salty Bonkos' car, the Portuguese driver, cruising up through the field, racing for the first time here in season 33. Born as Ghost rounds out the top 10. And let's go ahead and run through the pack to see where everybody is. Udakan establishing some distance now between he and Carbon in 2nd position. Corbin in 3rd. Darkser in 4th. Hoot Wheels is 5th, followed by Maverick, Craytrim, Salty Bonkos, Fear the Fun, Born as Ghost, Slipstream, Chaos Fox, Audrex, Big Ben, Hocus, Wolf, Phantom, Modern Weapon. All of those drivers within about 5 to 8 seconds of each other. Crazy close. From 5th on back to 18th. Unreal. And now here comes what looks to be Audrex there through the outside. Let's see if that is indeed Audrex. I think it is in 13th position. Trying to find a way around Chaos Fox. able to get by Big Ben there. Again, Audrex, perhaps he'll have to revert back to the AMD Risen livery because the Wu-Tang one hasn't worked out so kindly for him. Finishing, what is that, 8th, 7th or 8th there in race number 1. Not too bad, still top 10. And now Hoot Wheels with about a 2 or 3 car lengths of separation between she and 6th place of Cratrium. And if Hoot Wheels can make it happen, catch up here with Corvin and Darkster in 4th and 3rd respectively, that would be a heck of a run through the field. Another hard charger-like performance. Let's go to Maverick in 7th. Approaching the halfway mark in this race, Little Bambier. Thank you very much for the follow. Unfortunately, I think that means Little Bambier is not out on the racetrack. And yes, we are 1 driver short, so it might have been Bambier that DC'd early on in this race, which has been a bit of a nuisance, a bit of an issue here tonight. Maverick now falling off the back bumper of Cratrium. Hoot Wheels leading the pack now, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Through the chicanes on the back half of the course into the final right-hander, back toward the line for the start of the second half of this race of 16 laps. Maverick off into the not only the runoff area, but looks to grab a bit of the gravel. Let's go back to the battle here for 3rd. Corvid on the backside there of Darkser. Martini car in 3rd position, and Darkser, another name that is very familiar with any of the Tora fans and drivers. The volunteers helping things behind the scenes. Darkser going to give Corver the outside line. Corvid, who finished 2nd out at Yas Marina in race number 1. Darkser with the unfortunate DC late in that race, and now here comes Corvid's going to make a run for it on the inside. They'll go side by side down the Anfield straight away. Darkser at least has the advantage right now. Touches a little bit of the grass. That can lose some momentum, and so let's see if that sets Corvid up for a run on the outside and then the inside through the second half of the S's. That's exactly where he's at, and then he goes back onto the rear bumper. Darkser goes ahead and grabs the apex there, not allowing Corvid to have the lower line. So Corvid will have to find another part of the track to make it happen here. T-Phrase, I would love to say that any of the races that you were a part of here in the Forza Spec Racing Series were quite spectacular, but the racing here tonight, both at Yas Marina and now out here at the Le Mans Bugatti circuit, has been just another notch. It's just been amplified 100 times over.
I mean, there really has. I just remember looking back at when I first started this series and the talent that's been added and the consistency that's been added, and just how consistent and good the drivers that were in the series to begin with have become. I mean, over time, it is wild to me watching this, and it's almost like you're taking the best of Tora, the best of our stuff, and we're putting together on a fun night with a little bit less elbows up and saying, hey, let's go at it. Let's race in something that is not normal, that's not usually that fast, and let's go have a little fun.
Have a little fun indeed, and folks, might be hard to hear you over the microphone. I've boosted you as much as I can, but it does sound like you're a little bit away from the microphone.
Let me do this then.
There we go. That's the T phrase we like to hear. The whole,
All right.
all the tones there, not just the distant sound of T phrase, but right there up on the mic. And so, my T phrase, you were talking about how these drivers are coming out here having a fun but very competitive event, not only at Yas Marina but at the Bugatti circuit. What do you think has attracted this level of competition in a series which does regard itself as a beer league?
I think that's just it. Is everybody is kind of. I mean, we've had some crossovers with certain racers going to tour and certain tour racers coming over here, just because they know that the competition level's good. I just jumped over to the chat and everybody's talking in there. Everybody's having a good time, and they're right wheel to wheel racing, and they're still having a good time talking and telling each other, laughing, whatever. And you just don't see that in every series. So I think it's a night for everybody to kind of get their competitive juices going, give them something to do, something competitive, and just hone their skills in a little bit more, because everybody knows that when you're racing, experience doesn't, it's not like other sports where age, is a killer. Experience in racing is so important. And you can look at some of the top drivers. The young guns are good, but the top drivers are the guys that have been racing for years and have been racing a lot. I mean, look at Kyle Larson. He's a very good driver, and he's raced so many different ways in so many different levels just because he has all those skills. So I think that's just them trying to get in here and, try something new, a little bit slower cars, not maybe as fast as the Le Mans esports stuff. And, that teaches you how to keep your momentum up. That will carry over to a Le Mans esports style thing when you're doing something over 24 hours. You've got to keep that momentum up and that consistency up lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, no matter what the racing, what level of competition that you're in, consistency is key. We're talking with T-Phrase here in the driver's spotlight in race number 2 of week 1 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. T-Phrase, a frequent competitor in this series, at least in the past, not so much recently, but then also has joined me in the mic in the broadcast booth here a number of times for races here in FM4, but then also on the virtual autosports side of producing events. T-Phrase, as we look at the field here, and then of course considering the car that we have here for season 33, the Forza Spec Racing League has had this tendency to flop between high performance vehicles and then drop back down to low performance vehicles. So here we are in C500. If you're a regular of FM4, does that kind of mess with you a little bit, or is it just always nice to kind of change things up and go into a different style of racing from season to season?
No, I think that's part of this style series. Any of the other series that you look at, whether it's the esports or the Le Mans or even Toro or Roar, any of those other ones that are big time racers with the fastest guys always on the race or in the race, it changes your perspective on how to drive. And again, I think it's just a matter of honing different skills and different skill levels. That's why you can see people like Hoot, who I've never heard of until this evening, Hoot Wheels. I've never heard of, and they're tearing through the field right now. You got Carbon on the back of Huracan. Huracan's a known good racer.
Yeah.
I don't know who Carbon is, but and that's just me being out of the series for a little bit. But that's just a product of seeing different capabilities of whether you're going fast or going slow. But I'll tell you, this car, just a quick story here. The reason I wish I could have raced this car, but I can't give it enough time on Forza anymore to really do it justice. And we have a full lobby, so I'm not worried about it. So I figured I could support here by watching the stream and doing all that.
Yeah.
So this car for me in Forza 6 is actually the first time I ever did multiplayer. Up until that point, it was just campaign stuff. The first car I ever got in was a Pontiac Celsius. And I used a build that was from who is now a buddy of mine on Forza, and he's a very well-known tuner and has a lot of top times. His name's Veraxium. But he showed me how to tune the car and do a little bit to it and gave me a tune. And this car in C-Class in Forza 6 was actually a pretty solid car. The only cars I think that would beat it was the Mustang, the 65 Mustang, which it was a beast in Forza 6 for C-Class. I don't know why. But maybe a handful of other cars that could compete with it. But so this car, even though it's not, the best looking thing, it looks like it's got buck teeth. But, it's still a fast car. it is still a car that, you know, it can move.
Oh, and did we lose? I think we lost T-Phrase. He's fallen out of our broadcast booth. Perhaps we'll get him back in here shortly. But a great battle now emerging here for first as Carbon has caught back up with Udakan, where I thought for sure once Udakan had a 2, 3, 4 car lead on Carbon that we were going to see something very similar to race number 1. And now here comes Carbon heading to the outside, coming up to the next right-hander. Let's see if he's going to be able to do it on the outside. Probably going to take some of that runoff area and maybe do a little bit of a switcheroo here as they come through the next right-hander out of that horseshoe. And nope, he's going to fall back to second, at least for now. But he has been harassing the back bumper there of Udakan for the last 2 laps, as we have seen. Not to forget that we have Hoot Wheels, who's moving up through the field, and unfortunately, it looks like Hoot Wheels is dropped back behind Craytrim once again. She just can't hold on to a good pace, and there she goes sideways off into the dirt as that's going to be Salty Bonkos gets by in 5th, Darkser in 4th. And so Hoot Wheels, who, like I said, just can't pin down that amount of consistency needed to stay up there in the front, now back to 11th position. And that'll leave Corvid, Darkser to deal with Salty Bonkos and Maverick. Let's go to Salty Bonkos. Yeah, no worries, T-Phrase. Love having you here in the broadcast booth. And, of course, you're welcome back anytime throughout the season. Would love to get your perspective. The one thing that I was going to ask T-Phrase about, but it's still worth noting, is that the Forza Spec Racing Series has been a group of drivers who have maintained their friendship, their relationship, and their involvement in the league for quite some time, to include T-Phrase, even though he's not been out there for the last couple of seasons. And that has resulted in like some familiar names coming back season after season, winning the championship, not necessarily going back to back to back and having this repetitive, okay, they've won it again, but it's been that, okay, it'll be a back and forth between Craytrim, who's got the most championship wins here in the series of all time, and the likes of Udakan and Corvid and LMP Chicago, who won it there in season number 32. But you start seeing some of these new names, and it really adds that element of like, okay, we've got something interesting here. This is exciting. We've got new names, new challengers who are stepping up to the plate. Who is going to be the dark horse? Who's going to win this? Is somebody with an orange number plate? That means this is the first time that they've joined the series. Is somebody with that orange number plate going to come in here first time in a season and grab the championship? Well, Carbon sure is trying to make an effort as he got around Udakan there for a little bit, now falling back onto the rear bumper of that white Pontiac Solstice. And MXC Original saying, "Get back in there, Hoot. We believe you. We believe in you." And we'll check on the progress of Hoot, but we're gonna go back to this. We gotta hang tight here with this fight for the lead in our last 2 laps. 16 lapper. Don't worry about that 17th lap. That's just a cool down lap. So the next time by the flag stand is when they'll see the white flag fly. And now here they come up to the Dunlap Bridge. And Carbon might just be strategizing at this point. Maybe seeing where Udakan is a little bit slower. Perhaps where Udakan has had a tendency to step out a bit in that car. And maybe make a pass on the final lap. Last lap heroics. That will be exciting. Dino Dado saying, "Come on, Carbon. You got this." Funkhouse, well-measured race from Carbon. It has. And really, I am quite surprised. And maybe I shouldn't, but Carbon has held on to the backside of Udakan here, at least over the last 5 or 6 laps after, again, what looked like Udakan's win. Another easy win, replicating what had happened out there at Yas Marina. But Carbon, who finished 4th in that race, giving us all the reason to believe that Udakan is not likely to walk away with the win here in season 33. And of course, if we get LMP Chicago back into the mix in week number 2, my oh my, hold on to your butts. Here they go, back up to the final couple of corners. This last S section right here before you get the final two right-handers. Back up to the line. And pardon the camera angle here as we get kind of a weird chase cam from above. And here we go, folks. The final lap in tonight's racing here, week number 1 in the Forza Spec Racing Series Season 33. It's going to be an exciting season. No question. This is just the proverbial tip of the iceberg. And now here they come up to turn number 1, then 2, and 3. Carbon looking sharp. A few scrapes there on the front end to correspond with Udakan's bumps and bruises on the back. I've been calling this turn number 3, but it's really turn 4 here on the Bugatti circuit. Can Carbon pull it off, or is he content with the second place finish? Of course, enough space between Carbon and 3rd and 4th to go ahead and take a shot at it. Sure, what you're jeopardizing is more points if you happen to spin out and then you fall back a few more places, but I think Carbon is in good shape to take a shot without much risk. Down the infield straightaway for the final time here tonight. Udakan with the flag of Great Britain overhead for the drivers who are racing with us from all corners of the globe, either into this Tuesday evening or early into a Wednesday morning. It's something else. And as they get through the final corners here, it looks like it's going to be Udakan who's going to come away with a second win here, going 2 for 2 tonight. Yas Marina and now Bugatti circuit. Back to 4th with Darkser, who has Corvette out in front of him in 3rd position. And that's how these two look to finish. Darkser in the beautifully painted Martini car. 5th is going to go to Salty Bonkos, who has Cratrim back behind him in 6th. And I don't think there will be any change there. No siree. Maverick into 7th. Odge Rex 8th. Fear the Fun, who was in 5th in race number 1, in 9th. And that's where he'll finish. Still, the top 10. Hoot Wheels able to go back up into the top 10. Rounding out the top 10. And then Slipstream in 11th. Born as Ghost is 12th. Big Ben in 13th. Phantom in 14th. Chaos Fox in 15th. Let's go to Modern Weapon in 17th. Can he get around Slow Motion Fire? He will not. That's how those two will finish. And back behind Modern Weapon will be DOR Hocus, Joe Beardy, Mega Chen, Grim in 21st, and unfortunately a couple of disconnects here in race number 2. And there you go, folks. This is a cool down lap so that the organizers can take note of where everybody finished. I too need a cool down. Whew, too much fun here on a Tuesday night, and I hope we've made that Tuesday for you that much better. Folks, we'll go ahead and take that 180-second ad break real quick, allow the organizers to tally up where everybody's at on the grid as they finish coming across the line, and then we'll be back to talk to some of the drivers in our driver spotlight, the broadcast booth, get their thoughts on week number 1 and a little bit of a preview to week number 2. We'll be right back. I'm Dustin Moore. You're watching Virtual Autosports here live on Twitch TV. For those of you not getting any ads right now because maybe there's just no ads to play in your region or you're a subscriber of the channel, thank you so much for all your support here throughout the evening. This has been, without question, one of the most significant nights I can recall on a Tuesday here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, both for the viewership, the level of engagement, and then also the racing action that we've had on the track. And no doubt that has precipitated a lot of the conversations and excitement that you all are feeding off of there in pit lane. And so hang out with us here in the next minute, and we'll get over to our drivers in the driver spotlight to have a word with them, get their thoughts, and then again look at that schedule, what's ahead here in weeks 2, 3, 4, and then the finale in week number 5. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Dustin Moore here, live on Virtual Autosports Twitch TV with the Forza Spec Racing Series. Season 33 has come to a close with more great racing action out there at the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. It was Udakan coming away with the back-to-back win after making it happen there in race number 1, does the same in race number 2. However, things changed from that point backward. That's the only thing that was a constant here in week number 1. It was Carbon who came up to P2 for the run here at Le Mans Bugatti, and then it was Corvette, Darkser, Salty, Cratrium, Maverick, Audrex, Fear the Fun, Slip for the top 10, actually make Hoot Wheels a part of that. Then it was Born as Ghost, Big Ben, Phantom, Chaos Fox, Slow Motion Fire, Modern Weapon, Hocus, Joe Beardy, Mega Chin, and Grim for the 21 drivers, I believe it was, who finished of the 23. Hopefully heading into week number 2, we can sort out these issues as it relates to the connections. Of course, a lot of that is out of our power, out of our control, and we're just mercy to the internet gods and goddesses. But let's go ahead and bring in some of our drivers now into the driver spotlight. We've got LSEM Chaos Fox, and Chaos Fox, I see you back there in what looks to be 14th here out at Bugatti. Maybe not the finish you were hoping for.
Honestly, that was tough. My driving, I was a little off. I'm still not 100% used to the car. My problem is I'm slowing down a little too much for the turns, and that's how I kept dropping a few positions. But overall, I was much happier with Yaz. I did much better there.
Yeah.
Car felt real strong there. Here, the car did feel strong. It was my driving that kind of nipped me in the butt, but it was really exciting. Phantom got by me in the end, and I wasn't able to reel him back in. I was right on his back bumper right at the very end, but I could not get past him again. This season's going to be exciting the way these cars are. They're so close.
Yeah, I mean, from our vantage point as the spectators, it was thrilling. I can only imagine gripping the controller for what was in the first race 26 laps and then 16 laps out here at Le Mans Bugatti. It was you guys probably have made some imprints on those controllers bursting through the plastic there.
Yeah, I death grip my controller, so
Speaking with Chaos Fox, and you mentioned that you had a better finish there in race number 1 at Yas Marina, finishing 10th out there back behind Big Ben. Around that course, what is it about the Pontiac Solstice that you're struggling with? I know you said you're a little bit slower through the corners than you probably need to be. Is there any understeer, oversteer with this car, or is it more grippy than you anticipated?
It's more grippy than I anticipated. That's the problem. The issue I'm running into is the fact that I'm slowing down more than I need to, and not realizing that I could carry a lot more speed through the turns. I set up my car good. My issue is pretty much down to myself finding the limits of the car and not underdriving it. Right now, that's my issue, is underdriving it, and that's what's costing me positions, unfortunately.
And I'm guessing before we head into week number 2, speaking with LSM Chaos Fox, you're going to want to be able to sort that out as far as brake timing and all that. We're heading out to Road America and Top Gear test tracks that are both going to be of great speed.
Yes. Me personally, Road America is one of my favorite tracks. I actually use Road America to tune the majority of my cars. I know this track like the back of my hand. So I did test on this track when I initially set up my car, just because I like to come here. The car feels great. Since it's less technical than the Le Mans Bugatti circuit we were just at, I think I'm going to have a little bit of a less issue underdriving the car. And I feel a lot more confident here than on the previous track. So I'm looking forward to next week.
Feeling confident about the next tracks. You say Road America is one of your go-to test tracks. For anybody who doesn't know, here in FM4, the Forza Spec Racing Series, you could pick a track if you happen to guess what the car is going into the next season. When the champion picks the car, they put some abstract shots up. If you pick the car or you select or you say that it is what it actually is, then you get to pick a track. So do you have a circuit out here that you actually selected?
No, unfortunately, unlike last season, I was not able to guess correctly.
Okay. What did you think the car was when you first saw the shots, out of curiosity?
The little vent on the fender, I don't know why. I thought Lotus Elise.
Okay.
But like the little circle vent, I didn't see the little arrowhead symbol. I'm like, oh wait, Elise immediately came to my mind.
Yeah.
And since Chicago won, I know he likes little nimble Lotuses and everything, so that immediately came to my mind. But I was wrong.
Not a half bad guess. Kind of the same size, car, performance, and all that too.
Oh, definitely.
So you're pretty much on par, just different brand, make, model, and all that. So
yes.
Chaos Fox, we'll look to see what you can make happen there in week number 2. Who knows? After tonight, maybe this is your drop week and really making it happen. But still, coming away with one top 10 finish here tonight. Great job, and we'll see you in week 2.
All right, thank you. See you then.
All right, let's go ahead and drop in Carbon, and this is my first time chatting with Carbon. How you doing, sir or ma'am?
Hello, Justin.
How you doing? Especially after that race. I was talking to Chaos Fox and saying that the control must just feel like you pulverized it with the amount of grip. You were right there battling with Udakan for the last few laps. That was intense.
Yeah, it was. It was a great battling with Huracan. He was a good mate.
Was in those last 2 laps, we kept the camera on you. I was thinking maybe you would find a part of the track where he was struggling that you were better at. Was that there, or were you just kind of content with where you were going to finish, knowing that, hey, let me just grab these points and let's move on to week 2?
Both of our lap times were pretty much matched. So if anything, I was looking for a mistake, and Huracan was ice cold the whole race, and there was a couple times where I was able to sneak up on him, but I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to take him or me out, and it was just great racing all around.
You finished in 4th out there at Yas Marina, the first race of the evening, before picking up your P2 finish here at the Bugatti circuit. Corvid and Craytrim, 2 names that we're not any stranger to here at the Forza Spec Racing Series. So it's not that Udakan is the only one, although he did win both the races. He's not the only one you'll have to contend with. You've got a lot of close competition there, and I suspect that'll carry on into the next week.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it.
And if you were to throw out one word, just one, let's not try to cheat the system, just one word to describe your experience here in the Pontiac Solstice, what is that word?
Snowplow. Is that one word?
I think it might. I don't know. We'll have to go to the judges in the Twitch chat. We'll refer to the brain power that we have, all 50 or so people in the chat, to tell us what the verdict is on that. Snowplow. So for you, maybe the car is just unwilling to turn, or what's that descriptor mean to you?
Yeah, the build has a pretty wide rear tire, so
Yeah.
for me it was just kind of trying to get it to loosen up a little bit, but made for a lot of great racing. It looks like everybody was pretty close, so It was great. And like Matt6661 says, snowplow.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that.
Okay, well there you go. It's apparently one singular word. Matt,
Yeah.
keeping us honest. Carbon, this being your inaugural run here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, and we know that with the orange board, the orange number board. Obviously, no stranger to Forza Motorsport with the pace that you've got. But and I'll have to check with Slow Motion Fire on this. Are you aspiring to be the first driver to step into the league for the first time and then come away as the champion?
I mean, that would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. But there's a lot of fast guys in here, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut and not say that I'm going to go all out for the championship win. But
okay,
I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be definitely nice.
My job to try to get somebody to say something that maybe they'll regret, or maybe that'll feed the fire later on. But Carbon, great work out there tonight, and we do certainly look forward to seeing what you're going to be able to make happen in week 2.
Thanks, Dustin. You guys have a great night.
Thank you. You too. And now, to the driver who did go back-to-back here in week number 1 and making it happen, beating out Corvid in race 1, beating out Carbon there just barely out at Le Mans Bugatti circuit, is AMS Udakan. And, man, that was quite a stellar showing here this evening.
Oh, yeah. It's always fun to race at FM4 because the field is very, very close. It's proved at Yas Marina. We were looking through the qualifying times, and it was like the top 4 split between like 3 or 4 10s. And it just proves how, like, good the racing is here, and it's a lot of fun for me.
Carbon was unwilling to give us any sort of ammunition to kind of fuel this fire, this battle between you two. But tell me, are you familiar with Carbon, or is this a driver who's coming out of the blue to you?
Me and Carbon go back a good couple of months. We've known each other for a while. He's a good friend of mine.
I suspected that.
Yeah, I have to thank him actually for tonight because he gave me his tune setup last minute. Otherwise, I don't think I'd have come away with the double win, I don't think, to be honest.
See, and now Carbon, it would have been great if Carbon, when I asked him the question if he's going for the championship here in his first run in FM4, if he said, oh yeah, I gave Udakan this tune, so I know how to run this car, and he's going to have to work with it. But now here you are saying, no, yeah, I do have his tune, and I put him in his place at least here in week number 1.
Yeah, he's very good at tuning these lower class cars, so I knew he'd be willing to help me, and I was kind of glad that he decided to send me his tune numbers over. Otherwise, I would have been, shall we say, the proverbial screwed.
How does that work out for folks who maybe they're not in the Forza Motorsport environment, and they're not tuners, they're not painters, they're not racers, they casually know of Forza, or they're, like I said, they're just completely separated from all together. They just like watching racing. How do you find somebody within the community that you're like, okay, their driving style is close enough to mine that I could just borrow a tune from them and I should be pretty successful with it?
Well, I've done many, many lower class lobbies with Carbon, and he's always had some really, really good pace that's been very close to mine. So I've been monitoring how he drives, and I've seen that he has a very similar driving style to me. And I was like, yes, please, I'll have your tune for tonight. That'll do me very, very well.
Oh man, that's great that you could just kind of somebody. Oh yeah, you're gonna race with us. Okay, cool. Let me have your tune too. That being said, are there any adjustments that you think you'll make going into week number 2? We've got Road America and then the Top Gear West circuit in reverse to go to look at a week from tonight.
See, I won't know that until I actually do a lap, which will probably be like 5 minutes before qualifying starts, knowing me.
Gotcha. All right, well, Udakan, awesome performance out there tonight. I'm really, really excited to see who's going to be challenged. Obviously, Carbon being one of those, but with the expected return of LMP Chicago, our winner in Season 32, and then, of course, Kraytrim and Corvid, who are back there, Darkser even, and Salty Boncos. This is no season to lie on your laurels. This is going to be an exciting one all the way to the finish.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's a lot of very equally matched drivers up at the top, so it's going to be, I think, elbows out from now on. Elbows
out, yeah. I mean, it might have even gotten to the point of fisticuffs there for a short bit out at, especially at Yas Marina. But I think all in all, very clean racing all throughout the field. And now we'll turn it on over to Hoot Wheels, who unfortunately, well, you had a stellar go in the first race out at Yas Marina. You were working your way up through the field, got up to, I believe, 4th, and then unfortunately disconnected. Things were looking pretty dang good out here at the Bugatti circuit, making it up to, again, I believe 4th, and even looking ahead at 3rd to challenge 3rd place, and then unfortunately got a spin out. So just didn't work out in your favor here tonight.
No, it wasn't exactly what I had expected. I went in expecting a top 5. That was my goal, and I didn't finish in those positions. But I think something to keep in mind for myself moving forward is that even though I didn't finish in those positions, it's achievable for me. I can do that. I was in the top 5 in both races, so I know I can do it. It's just a matter of having that clutch factor and being able to bring those positions home.
Carbon giving me a hard time there. Udakan, yeah, I try to go with the Italian spin of it, or pronunciation of that word, but it just doesn't work out with me. But now we're talking with Hoot Wheels, and yeah, it definitely is achievable for you. Would you say it is a matter of consistency that you got to kind of pin down, or was it just because there was so much traffic that it was just very chaotic, and perhaps the only way that you'll be able to continue to be up in that top 5 is establishing some distance with that traffic?
I would say it's definitely something to do with consistency. I notice, there are periods of time where I can focus up and get the job done. Like, I saw at Yas Marina, I was focused and I didn't make a mistake, really. The only mistake coming from my internet connection or whatever happened. But in the second race, I think after what happened in the last race, I was just running a little bit tilted, a little bit upset, and it kind of got me distracted every once in a while, and those distractions kind of ruined my mental game going into this race. So, and unfortunately, that led into me kicking the rear end out in front of CT and not being able to recover it without having another sim twitch and going straight back into the track. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, it seems as though just consistency is what I need to work on, and that's all.
Yeah, and so with the disconnect in the first race and a little bit of, like you said, kind of kicking the back end and spinning the car out in race number 2, what does that do to you mentally? And is it pretty easy to kind of shed this after tonight and move on? Or is this something that might hang around in week 2 that you're just going to have to dispel somehow?
I don't think it'll hang around. I have a pretty crappy memory, so it's just going to go in one ear out the other kind of thing. When something bad happens throughout the night, it's hard for me to forget, but I think next week I'll come in with a fresh mind and having all the positive takeaways, that I can reach top 5. If I put my head down, I can race well, and just to try and stay focused and keep my eyes on the track.
Okay.
That's really all I need to take away from that.
Yeah, and I played the one-word game. I think it was with Carbon. So let me go ahead and give you the one-word game. One word to describe week number 2. You've got Road America full. You've got the Top Gear West track, as our viewers are seeing on the screen. What's the one word for you for week 2, either as a descriptor of the tracks or where you've got to be mentally for those couple of races?
I would have to say focus. It would have to be focus.
I like it.
Because, yeah, this time I think I just had, an issues with, focusing, keeping my eyes on the track and such. So if I just keep my focus on Road America, especially Road America, because I'm really good at that track. It's one of my favorite tracks.
Oh, nice.
I think I'm going to have a really good time next week.
Well, that one's setting up nicely with both Udakan and not Chaos Fox, but Hoot Wheels saying that these are tracks that are up their alley. So we'll see what kind of battles are waged there. Hoot Wheels, great chatting with you. Have a great rest of the week here, and we'll see you in week 2.
Absolutely. See you in week 2. And before I go, I want to shout out once again the Fun Poster Parliament. Y'all are great. I saw all of you in chat. It was insane. As well as some of the other people from my Twitter account who follow me, people from my Twitch who followed into the raid and watched the races. You guys rock. Thank you for popping in and for supporting.
Yes, for supporting both Hoot Wheels, and of course that support then comes through over the broadcast as well. Always great chat with Hoot Wheels. And now let's go ahead and bring in AX4X Big Ben. Big Ben, we saw you there in the, like I said, I think it was the last race of season 32, and you've opted now to join in here in week number 1. Might we anticipate you being out there on the track all throughout the season here in season 33?
I would say that would be a safe bet. Obviously, with everything that's going on right now, I'm finding myself a little extra time, so hopefully I'll be able to make more races this season.
Top 10 finish out at Yas Marina, as a matter of fact, finishing 9th out in front of Chaos Fox, again at Yas Marina, and then a little bit beyond the top 10 mark there, I think 12th behind Born as Ghost and in front of Phantom. Any adjustments that you're going to make either with your driving style or with the car heading into week number 2?
Well, I'll actually practice this time. That's always a good thing that I typically don't do when it comes to races sometimes. I literally just jumped in the car. I hadn't gotten a really good chance to drive it up until this point. So tonight was a learning night for me. And hopefully I'll be able to take what I learned and be able to make the rest of the season just a little bit easier.
I love that response every time it comes, because I can just kind of like, I'm trying to picture like in the real world when a racer is interviewed by the TV folks, and if the interviewer was to say, hey, how are you preparing for this race? I would love at one point for one of them just to say, well, I haven't practiced. I haven't done anything. So it's awesome that here in the virtual world that you can just literally pick up and play this game, and even if you're not going to be as successful as you would if you practice, I think it's great to see just how well you can do even without the practice, because you're not going to put anybody's life in jeopardy. It's just that simple.
Yep. To steal the quote that they've been saying on Fox for pretty much the last 3 weeks, just hit the reset button, go back out there.
That's right. Hit the reset button. Talking with Big Ben here, who is synonymous with the Online Racing Association, Tora, racing here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, which I got to ask, do you have any, and I think I might have asked this question of you last season when we had you out there on the track, but is there any sort of relationship that you have with Slow Motion Fire and with the Forza Spec Racing Series? Do you have a lot of the drivers from Tora who maybe have come from the Forza Spec Racing Series, or how did you hear about this league and decide you want to participate here in Season 33?
I actually don't quite remember. I think I initially heard of it through Darkster and Great GM, CT, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I originally got involved. So, and I'm first and foremost a motorsport fan, and I love to race.
Yeah.
So whatever I can find somewhere that's tight, close racing, I'll be interested in going there.
You're a motorsport fan. You're interested in the racing. Just give me your take here, what we've seen transpire over the last 3 weeks. Obviously, we would probably rather not be in this situation with COVID-19, but what it has done for the esports community, and particularly the racing scene in esports, has been just beyond belief, really. So
yeah.
What have you seen?
I'm seeing a lot of interest in what esports actually is anymore. Probably the simplest way I can describe it is that we're basically all the sim race guys, all of us Forza guys, iRacing guys, ASCC guys, all of us are like, hey, welcome to the party. We've been here for a while.
Yeah.
Let us help you figure this out. You can definitely see that whenever you're watching the stuff on Fox, especially the NASCAR series with the professional drivers, where Tim Hill, the Intimidator, now I guess we have to call him, he doesn't usually do that well out on the real racetrack, but he's an iRacer, so he knows how to race in the iRacing. So that gives him a pretty competitive edge against everyone else that's there. With IMSA doing their Super Sebring thing 2 weeks ago, it's, in my opinion, it's bringing sim racing to the light of what I feel it should have been all this time, where it's like okay, this is somewhere where we can have fun and still do this hobby that we absolutely love.
That's right. And, of course, for all of our viewers that have joined us here for week number 1 of the Forza Spec Racing Series, you've got us for the next 4 weeks here on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But, Ben, is there any sort of teaser, any sort of heads up in terms of what's to come here for Tora maybe in the next couple of weeks or the next couple of months?
Nothing I'm going to tease at the moment.
Okay.
I will say that those who are in our Discord have noticed that we've added a new channel.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be something that's announced tomorrow. But then again, look at the calendar date tomorrow. I wouldn't believe anything.
Well, wait a minute. You can't ruin it like that and play it off as an April Fool's joke. You had to let it happen organically or not at all.
I mean, we are announcing something tomorrow that it will be a series.
Awesome.
But Tor has been known to do some wacky things on April Fool's Day. Like a couple years ago, I changed, air quotes, a round of our something similar to the IMSA WeatherTech series, the sports car series with DPs and GTs, if you know what I'm talking about. I changed that round instead of going to, I think it was Road America. I said, guess what? We're going to Rio Short now. So
that's
that.
That's a
couple years ago. A couple years ago, one of our media guys turned our entire site into Cantonese. It was hilarious.
Nice.
But right before we started racing, I noticed that Delta announced that they're doing 24-hour race with the Formula E cars on Rio,
Formula E, I'm okay with the Rio part. I'm adverse to that track.
It was supposed to be a team of 6 running 5-hour stints or something like that. It's obviously meant as a joke.
Oh my gosh. My gosh. April Fool's never fails to bring out the worst of us, huh?
I remember a couple of years ago. We've gone completely off topic here, but I'm used to that.
It's okay.
If you listen to the Tora radio show, you know I go off topic sometimes. I remember a couple years ago when iRacing announced on April Fool's Day that they're going to start adding dirt content. And I remember saying, this is probably an April Fool's joke, but iRacing is welcome to prove me wrong. I had never been so glad I was wrong in my entire life.
The dirt racing, the World of Outlaws that they do on Monday nights has been phenomenal. I think there's even, I'm trying to think of what there's even autocross, I believe that they've got on there too. So it's impressive what they've done, and obviously the impacts of this event and what it's done to boost their membership and just generally the awareness of their sport has been phenomenal, and it's trickled a little bit elsewhere, I think, as well. But hopefully everybody can enjoy the love of esports equally across other organizations, other leagues that are happening, and perhaps maybe we'll see the next awesome, great, cannot miss event coming out of Toria. Of course, you guys always put on must-see events, so we look forward to seeing what the next ones are. And if people are looking for information, where should they go?
They should go to racetora.com or the forums.theonlineracingassociation.com.
That's right. And then also for those of you who are Twitter fanatics, the Twitter handle, I believe, being the real underscore Tora. Yeah, there we go. So there you go, folks. Lots of information to pick up, and that way, if you're interested both in the Forza Spec Racing Series, but then you want to get into a series that has a little bit more rigor, go check out Tora. Big Ben, always great chatting with you, and we'll see you in week number 2.
Yep. Talk to you later, Dustin.
Awesome. Great interviews by all of our drivers, great racing out on the track, great engagement in the chat, great representation in the follows, and even in the, dare I say, the subscriptions, which still baffles me, but I love all the support that you guys have shown here throughout the evening, and I hope it continues a week from tonight. Same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here at Virtual Autosports with week number 2 in Season 33 of the Forza Spec Racing Series, driving that 2009 Pontiac Solstice GXP. It's brought on some of the greatest racing that we've seen in this league, at least in the time that I've been broadcasting, and I suspect it will only continue, especially if we're expecting some drivers to make their first appearances here in week number 2, which again, heading out to Road America, not any of the short circuits, but the full circuit. 12 laps of the full circuit at Road America. That's going to be a beaut. Follow that up with an interesting one out of the Top Gear West Circuit in reverse, 50 laps, which only has the fuel and tire damage only. There will be no mechanical damage, contact damage based on crashes or as a result of crashes or anything like that, because there is no pit lane to go into out there at the Top Gear circuit. So that's what we have in store for week number 2, but don't miss the action for the next 4 weeks. It's going to be great. We've got then following that Road Atlanta, the full circuit, the Nürburgring Nordschleife, which I was very shocked to see, but I'm glad that it's on there, 4 laps around that track. Then Silverstone, the international circuit in rain, so we got a little bit of weather here in season 33. We haven't had any weather for quite some time. Virginia International Raceway also there in week number 4, and then it's all capped off with the 69-lap race out at Prague Short Circuit, the one and only fantasy track here in season 33. Folks, it's been great. This has been a real blast, and I appreciate all the support. I hope it's not just because of the fact that we're all quarantined, locked in our homes, but I hope that you do indeed find this broadcast and the racing action to be exciting. We have a lot more of it, not only here through season 33, but I suspect we'll have it for many more weeks and months to come. So again, if you haven't clicked that follow button, please do so. And then that way we can count on you coming back here week after week, race after race. A few other shout-outs that I got to throw out there for folks who came in with the follows late here in the broadcast. Subaru Stig, Panda 25, 8601, and I believe I mentioned Little Bambier. Thank you there for those follows. And again, I can't say it enough, although I can't call them out one by one because there's so many of them here tonight. Thank you for those subscriptions. Much appreciated. All this going right back into the broadcast for you here at Virtual Autosports. If you get any more virtual racing in, because gosh darn it, those real world tracks are all locked up. If you get any more virtual racing in, not only in Forza Motorsport 7, but anywhere throughout the esports and competitive communities, not only here in Forza, but Project Cars, iRacing, R-Factor, Assetto Corsa, wherever, make sure you keep it fun, keep it safe, keep it clean. Until next time, y'all take care. Be safe, be happy, be healthy. We'll see you next time, next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Virtual Autosports and Twitch TV.